Howdy folks, welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. I am Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master, and joining me this evening, as most evenings, but unlike most evenings, in costume, I have my friends Matt, Dan, Hannah, Alana, and Tina. Happy Halloween. We do have some new music and a couple new sound system tweaks, so if you can hear us, it'd be great to know that. If you can't, it would also be great to know that.
Happy October.
Oh yeah. Happy what? October. Oh, I hate that. So we're going to be playing some 5th edition D&D. This is actually the 124th session of this campaign, which has been going for about 4 years. Before we get into that, a couple of announcements. If you do want to know more about this campaign, you can find out more on alberonrpg.com. We also have social medias at alberonrpg. There are pictures, maps. We have things like this, our combat camera. You can see a little bit this map that we're going to be starting off on tonight. It's a lot clearer on things like Instagram, Twitter, at Alberon RPG. Last night we played Mosaic Team 5, Session 31. Also, everybody in costume, including Dan's incredible costume. You can see that replayed at noon on Sunday on YouTube, followed by this at 4 p.m. And then we are coming close to the end of this campaign. This is probably going to be winding down sometime in... It's so hard to tell with you guys.
We're not good at planning, Joe.
No, actually, that's the problem. You're very good at planning.
Yeah.
But then when it comes time to execute
all the
plan,
best laid plans have gone to waste.
So possibly sometime around the end of the year, at the end of this campaign, we're going to have a 4-part mini campaign that's going to be run by Kara, who plays Echo over on Mosaic Team 5, prior to the start of Campaign 2. Dan is going to be leaving this campaign. Kara is going to be joining. There's going to be a couple personnel changes before Campaign 2, but there'll be more coming. That's going to be on Instagram and stuff as well. And then finally, for music, sound effects, things of that nature, we use Sirenscape for things like this sweeping musical arrangement called Shadows of Eastern. But there are all kinds of different things that you could play. If this is a little too epic for you and you wanted something a little bit more light in nature, this is called Witch Music, and you can also find that on Sirenscape.
Bookmark this one for campaign 2.
Okay. Oh, no, trust me. I have a whole soundboard that I'm building. This is Campaign 1 Master Soundboard. Couple different things. Sirenscape is a digital tool set that you could use to really customize your sound. This is the song that we're playing now. If you want just a quick Wilhelm scream, you can grab one of those as well. Oh, he was really quiet that time. You have drums. You have all kinds of sound effects. Whatever you need for Sirenscape. So check that out. And with that,
but should be.
yeah,
I know, right? That was
day.
excellent.
That was pretty good.
Look for us, Sirenscape.
Look for us. Look at how your people talk to me. We start our theme song and get into our recap. Ooh, our theme song sounds so nice on the speaker versus the little tiny speakers we had for so long.
No.
Fate Changers. Last we played, you gathered your strength after slaying the mad dragon Forgotten. A dragon that had been enclosed within an iron flask for many millennia, and then used your Carranza cab to get to Yorn. You assemble the Staff of Twisted Fates, a artifact of great power that had been searched for a long time by your people, with everybody pulling together to perform their parts admirably. Nothing went wrong, which actually, considering there were 5 potential places where that could have happened, sort of a miraculous turn of events. You traveled, after traveling to Yorn, gathered Aira and Hylan, and with Gamble's help, reopened the Aperture, to finally travel to the blood-red sands of the Huntlands and Calypsos beyond. You travel through the cutting sands and the howling winds of this demiplane, with Aalinor succumbing to the psychic exhaustion of this place. But after traveling across for roughly an hour, you crested a ridgeline and spotted the guide stone that you needed to ultimately make your way further to Aalinor. But unfortunately, you also found several groups of swarming undead, shepherded by these creatures of fungus and rot. Akka, you flew invisibly over top of the field and landed with just the barest, tiniest tip of your finger. However, still touching, it released a pulse of energy, and the idling monsters became much more active, running back and forth, agitated, searching. And that is where we begin this evening. Give me just one moment to pull up some appropriate sound effects.
Maybe if I had gone from the side, it looked like it's a pressure sensor. And
It was really just you used the wrong finger ultimately.
Yeah.
You know?
Always
You
go with
spent
the
a
middle
really
finger.
long time justifying how you were only just touching it a little bit. I was rooting for you, really.
You know, like when you try to just barely touch your
Yeah.
fingers
Everybody
together.
roots for Akka because it's really like him against himself.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's
he's
most
not.
of my
Man
characters.
versus self. Elf versus self.
Elf versus self. Oh, I love that. So all of you now, laying, crouching, sitting, whoever it is that you are posed on this ridge line, looking down about 60 feet. The ridge goes down, descending, very much like a sand dune at a beach. This is almost within a crater, and you can see at the very center this red guide stone that is glowing with these faint celestial runes. Akka, you are just barely touching it from the top, and at this time you can hear running back and forth these rotting undead creatures. Here and there you can just hear and they just breathe in the air and seem to be searching for you, but you begin this process. I would say, Akka, at this point too, you also notice, and let me bring up this camera so that everybody else can see what you're seeing. There is a huge creature that seems to be almost attached to this cave-like edifice, almost like an archway of stone. You'd seen something like this before, in the very chamber that Brenna had been found in. And at this point, while all the other creatures just running back and forth looking for you, this one moves much more intently. You can see one arm detaches from the stone, long, jagged protrusions, similar in ways to those of the Crotego that you had fought previously, digging into the sand and then pulling away the second arm. It doesn't have a mouth the same way that these other creatures do, but deep from within you could hear this. It seems to almost search. For the rest of you, are you doing anything?
I'm using bolstering magic on myself.
There you go. As you see this happen, you just kind of like run one of your hands across yourself and there's this flare of magic. Anybody else?
It looks like Akka's about to
Eat it.
eat it. Prepared to spring forward and engage.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Can I ready something myself?
So we're going to get back to you. You're in the middle of doing something. Oakfeld.
I'm gonna do the same. It looks like Akka's gonna fight. I'm gonna summon some ants.
Okay, fantastic. You get your bag ready.
I'm gonna take out a dagger.
Okay. So it is one person, you hear like Shay's knuckles crack. You hear the bag of Oakfeld rustling, and then you hear this little dagger come out. All of you getting ready in various ways. But
I'm just like
Akka,
not breathing, just lightly touching.
you touch the stone, and all around you the sand finishes rippling like water. Most of you kind of standing, sitting, or kneeling, but Akka, for you, it feels very different. Around the edges of your vision, it's almost like the sand is becoming more intense, but it goes from red to this almost palish orange hue, and you feel like, in ways, your vision is graying out, but you're not. Your consciousness very much still attached, and it feels like your vision begins to drift and wander. You do know that this process takes you about a minute, and it feels like this minute is going to show you the way out of the Huntlands. But as you leave your physical form behind, you do realize that you are very much exposed, and this creature takes a first step towards you.
Does it seem to know exactly my presence, or is it also searching like the others?
No, this seems to be heading straight for, at the very least, the guide stone.
I'm staying
Other
in my
stuff.
position as much as until it's like gonna take a swipe at me,
Sure.
and then I don't know if I can ready it, but I would like to attempt to use my echo form to teleport away from it before it
You
strikes
can't
at me.
ready your echo form, but okay, you have that in the back of your mind as an
Bonus
option.
action, so yeah,
Sure.
like
Do we see this monster starting to lumber toward him?
From all of your perspective, it looks like a solid rock, but then all of a sudden there is a brief whistling sound as the wind howls through, and then as this creature takes another step forward, suddenly you can see the red sand and everything on the other side. And with this huge creature shifting and moving, Brenna, you especially know what this is. You've seen one before.
And then follow-up question: do we know that Akka's going to be pretty vulnerable over the next minute or so?
You,
Like, has this been explained to us at all?
Yeah. Aira had actually explained to all of you that this does take a minute and you are helpless as this is happening.
Okay.
So as you look, you see like Akka is just kind of like touching
Well,
this and
visible, so
oh, right. Yeah. So you have no real idea, but you do see this pulse and the sand ripple like water, and then this creature begin to move towards the stone.
And we knew that that's where he was going,
Yes.
right? Okay, so Brenna is going to rage and then fly down there, not touching anything, not making any noise, but just she's gonna hover in the air, place herself between Akka and the monster.
Go ahead and make a stealth check. And make it at advantage as you are hovering.
Yeah.
And these creatures, though they do seem to be hunting for Akka, definitely not by sight.
It's 5.
Okay.
I rolled 2 2s.
So-
Oh wait, sorry.
So it's more like a
Hold on. No, sorry, not a 5, an 8.
Okay.
Oh.
So instead of going, Akka, I'm going to protect you, shh. You drift across the sand quietly, just trying to put yourself between the two, and you see this creature begin to stretch. From within, it seems to almost burble and growl, and all of a sudden, all these monsters kind of like zigging and zagging through the sand. And they seem to almost be paying attention to this creature.
Okay.
Is anybody else doing anything?
Well, sorry, side note. When I raged, I also have some multicolored protective lights around me now, +1 bonus to AC and anyone within 10 feet of me.
Okay. So all of you can see Brenna very well.
Do they all look like they're intent on either Brenna or Akka?
That's what I was about to ask.
Yes, neither of you can't see Akka, but
Sure.
where Brenna
Like-
is now, floating, and Akka, as your vision pulls you away and you kind of drift over this archway, if you were to turn, you can see like Brenna protecting your unconscious floating body.
So am I having like an out-of-body experience?
Very
right
much
now?
so.
Okay.
So, this creature takes another step,
Does that mean I'm incorporeal?
and another step.
My spirit lives on?
Brenna, this creature is directly beneath you. And you see like the rough, crusty top of the head covered in this sticky looking, almost mold. And then it turns, and then you can just see the sort of sloping body as one of these massive claws begins to stretch out like it's preparing to climb.
Jumping down to the ridge, the
Okay.
rock there.
Can you put this and then also put Brenna between you and this creature?
Like here?
Yeah, exactly there.
I pulled.
Oh.
Maybe we shouldn't be stacking Oakfeld.
Yeah.
Oakfeld was not meant to be stacked.
So,
To be chopped down.
this creature approaching, and we'll cross into your path in just a moment. Are you doing anything different?
I'll ready in action. I'm gonna get closer to the guide stone, and I'll ready in action to swing at it if I see it about to do something that will harm a body that's standing on top of the guide
So
stone.
it's slow, and this creature is creeping forwards, and like closer and closer, and you, Brenna, are getting like closer and closer to like where the guide stone is, and there is a point where you can move no more. It's going to go straight over you, and presumably Akka as well. And I would say with you there, Akka there as well, sort of out of body, everybody can go ahead and roll initiative. Akka, you are unable to act as you are currently out of body until the completion of this ritual.
Oh no.
There are other ways in which this could be broken, but you do not know what those are.
Can I use my non-acting action to think about stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, on your turn, I will tell you the things that you're seeing.
Okay.
Don't worry.
And I can ponder upon the actions that I may take once I can figure out a way to break it if necessary.
That's a free action right there.
Great.
Anybody natural 20. All right, 25 to 20.
30,
30 20.
22.
22.
Well, that's 18.
18. Look at that. So 18 was Aalinor. 20 was Shay. Brenna is starting us off. Oakville, where are you, buddy?
12.
Oh, wow.
As
Okay.
my starting action
Also 12.
is summoning the ants, I believe, is what I said.
You did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see those ants. What's your dexterity?
Okay. So let me go get some animals for your ants.
So,
Animals.
I don't have your ants yet. They're coming later. They're coming at the end of next week.
Animals.
Aw.
they looked really cool.
Yeah, I'm
They
excited.
look
for
very
them.
scary.
I'm
Very
not super
big.
excited to paint them because they're very detailed, but it'll be great. So
Tea
here's some
party.
medium-sized
party,
or
baby.
large-sized animals.
We could all paint an individual ant.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
can name them.
Yeah.
Esperel 2.
The way that this worked out, Brenna, you were starting off, followed by Shay, followed by Aalinor, followed by Oakfeld, and then Akka, you are right before the undead who are going at the very bottom of initiative. So that's nice for you at least.
Yeah,
Now,
I can think a little.
Brenna, this creature is about to be right on top of you. If you could actually, if somebody could just move it a little closer so it is in base contact with Brenna, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna hit it.
There you go. So as these lights kind of flare around you, go ahead and make your attack rolls. Give that to somebody to hold on, Brenna.
25.
25. A 25 is going to hit.
Right. And my goal is to if it's like, reaching, my goal is to like kind of swat it out of the way so it's not reaching anymore.
Fair enough. Okay.
Max damage, okay. 23 damage.
23, and that's just magic bludgeoning, or sorry, magic slashing.
Magic slashing.
Okay. So from the
The
top,
blade
as you
is silvered
float-
if that matters.
Do you want them in like a pack
It doesn't.
formation?
You go back and back and back, and at the last second, as you can't go back any further, you reach back, grab the handle of your axe, and swing. You cleave into the head of this creature, and it cuts so deep that it almost splits partially down the middle, and you can see internal structure to this that shouldn't be visible on the outside. But anything else, Brenna?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna attack it again
There you
because
go.
I can do that. Sorry, 27.
27 hits
Yeah.
also.
Too many maths in this game. For 17 damage.
17 damage. So 40 damage right off the bat. Any other attacks?
No other attacks, but do I feel like I have its attention?
It's hard to tell. This
Okay.
creature moves really slow, and so in the way that it kind of interacts, you right into its head, and as you pull back, you can already see, as you pull away, like the individual parts of its head almost rattle the skin, and it seems to be stretching back together, but you hit it again, cutting even deeper this time. It's hard to tell if it has attention. It doesn't have eyes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of circle around it just a little bit,
Okay.
like around here. And I want to gauge whether it's gonna follow me. And if it is, then I'll try to pull it away from Akka, but I don't want to get too far because
And you're flying at the moment, right?
yeah.
So you go to the side, waiting to see if it swings out, and it doesn't.
All right. I'm gonna move back between them.
There you go. Right back, and you're like, shit, that didn't work. But there you are between Akka and the creature.
Yep.
That is your turn. That brings us to Shay. Aalinor, you are on deck.
Bonus action for haste.
There you go. You are hasted.
And then starting from that archway, I'm just gonna jump down on top of it, and he's gonna take some hits.
There you go. So you leap off the archway, and already that jump carries you like half the distance to the bottom of the crater. It's like 2 or 3 more footsteps kicking through the sand, and you arrive in the battlefield. Who are you going for?
The big guy.
Okay.
The 27 to hit.
27 hits.
Or 13.
13.
26 to hit.
6 hits.
10. And a 25.
25 hits as well.
Oh, 15.
15. So, oh, yeah.
Back up to the archway.
Okay. So you dive down and run across the sand. As you kick this thing, it's almost like you use it as stairs. You kick the bottom of where the heel on this creature might be, and it almost dissolves into like elements of like toadstool and loamy flesh. But as you kick up again onto the calf and the leg, it's almost like you're ripping the leg apart as you climb it. And the very end, you try to kick the part that Brenna has already ripped into two, and you end up tearing part of the head and just off. Akka, as your out-of-body experience progresses you forward, you just see almost like your spirit overhead, this like piece of mushroomy flesh just whiz by you. And already, as you like turn your head back, Shay is like gone and on the ridgeline, back to where she began. Anything else, Shay?
That's it.
All right, Eleanor, what do you want to do? Oakfield, you're on deck with your
All right.
hands.
So say that thing's already kicked off. I'm gonna try and move towards, but I'm gonna try to get on top of the closest rock structure that I get to. So we're coming from.
You're coming from where your minis are all lined
Okay,
up.
so we're coming to this direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to try to just to use my movement and my action if I need to, or with bonus action, to get up on top of this.
So it's 60 feet of movement.
Yeah. So it would be 30 bonus action dash, and then can I use my action to climb?
Go ahead and make an acrobatics check.
Okay.
You absolutely can. You don't need to necessarily use your action to climb. You don't have a climb speed, right?
No.
Okay.
It's just-
So you can try to get there. We'll take some acrobatics to do so.
Okay. I am nowhere near as graceful as Shay is, but I
There are
need to
different
double.
kinds of grace.
I just want so ability checks. Okay, so. Okay, so that's about what it would have been anyway. So that's a 21.
Okay, that's still pretty good. And unlike Shay, who is able to basically warp speed run here, you don't quite have that ability, but what you do have is a magical rapier. And so you take it and whistle, it fires ahead, and you take a running start and run and use that as almost a leaping point to kick off and go spiraling arm over arm before you can grab on. And it's not elegant in any way, but you sort of like spread eagle cling onto the rocks and then scramble up to the top.
Made it.
There you are.
Okay, now that I'm up here, so did that didn't use my action?
No.
Okay, I will use my action then to attack the closest undead creature, which looks like it's the big guy.
Yep, and so he's like climbing up. You see the top of the head at one point, this big disc, almost the top of a mushroom, split in the front. And so down the front, you can see teeth. You see like several tongues at different angles coming out of this throat that are all licking at the wound. And that is what you see.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw a dagger at it. And that's not an ability check, that's just an attack.
Yeah.
It's actually still pretty good. A dirty 20.
Dirty 20, that just barely hits.
Oh, I still hit it though.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it sneak attack damage?
No.
Does Brenna count as being engaged?
Yes, but
Trying really hard.
hang on, I have to look and see what it's blind. 60 feet. No, that is not a sneak attack.
Okay, so it doesn't cancel out even with the having someone else engaged with him?
No, because so you would have advantage for having them engaged.
Yeah. And then the blind sense kind of overpowers that?
No. So you,
Plus flanking.
I would say you have advantage on this, and that would give you sneak attack. Yeah, because you have Brenna on that side. It is flanking. It isn't necessarily aware of your presence, and it's kind of iffy on whether or not Tremor Sense would work across rock 30 feet up. Technically, it's within 60 feet, but I would say go ahead and make a stealth check real quick.
One of them is a natural one, but the grand total would still be pretty high.
I'm gonna say if it's a natural one,
Yeah, I'm gonna say
not
no.
a sneak attack.
Yeah, that's
at
fair.
this, as you
That's
like,
very valid.
Yeah, you throw the rapier, you jump off of that, kind of taking the dagger and throwing it in a spin as you do. And with all of that, it's hard to do in a hidden way.
Yeah, that's valid. Minimum damage of 7. I think.
Nice.
Hold on,
But
let me
every
double
bit
check.
counts.
That's 60,
And as you do that, you can see all these tongues out, and then you just throw this dagger, and it just disappears into this like gaping throat and maw. Hard to tell if that really did anything, but you don't have a dagger anymore.
It'll come back eventually.
Eventually. That is your turn? All right. Aalinor, that is your turn. That brings us to Oakfeld. Oakfeld, you have this bag ready. As a free action at the beginning of your round, as you do have it ready, if you want, you could dump some ants out.
Bam.
Bam.
Ants.
You kind of like slide down the dunes, your full 30 feet of movement, and then dump the ants out at the end. As you do, presumably casting giant insect. And these little ants, you see them almost grow before they hit the ground. And as they hit, they tumble in the dust, still growing before beginning to run towards this creature at the very end. What are you doing, Oakfeld?
I'm going to bonus action, transform big, but I'm going to move 30 feet first.
Okay.
So 5, 10, 30. And then I'm going to. I can attack, right? That free action doesn't count as a turn?
Yeah, because you had that readied at the very beginning.
Okay. Is this the big one?
The biggest one is the big one, yeah?
Yeah, I want to attack him.
Go for it. So you turn around, you run past this huge archway of stone, big Oakfeld, looking for the biggest one. You see all these little mushroom creatures, these zombies, like really low beneath your line of sight. And then you turn and you see this huge mushroom creature, and this is your kaiju battle. You're ready to go.
Alright, so it's a 19 plus 10, so 29.
Yeah, that's a hit.
D10.
I have so much on my turn that I get to do.
There's only 20 zombies on the field, right?
Remember
think
that
there's
time
21.
that Matt took out all the zombies with the lightning
good
bolt?
times.
Can you line them up again, Joe? Really good.
9
9?
damage.
Yeah, my turn.
And then
I'm
I
just
get my
gonna
second
think about
attack.
That.
Just reminisce.
That's a 1.
Wow.
1.
Yeah.
That is
My life
going
was
to
so
be a
much better
miss.
back
And I would
then,
say,
weirdly.
Brenna, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Can I see the thing that I'm
You
saving
can.
against?
So as you are like swinging at this creature, trying to like keep it away from Akka, you see a huge Oakfeld. And as he's about to stomp on this huge mushroom, one of his ants crawls up and he's about to stomp on the ant as well. Oakfeld's like, oh no, swings the big leg out of the way and then just almost pummels you.
17.
However, that is just enough at this moment to kind of dodge out of the way of Oakfeld's swinging huge tree-like hand. You manage to dodge, but you're really in the middle of this fight. Oakfeld, anything else?
I have a bonus action to attack with the. Or did I have bonus action to transform?
Yeah. You already used bonus action.
That's
All
my
right,
turn.
there you go, Oakfeld. That is your turn, Akka. You see Oakfeld take a swing at Brenna. What do you want to do? Oh, right. No, you're floating overhead. Right. Okay. So Akka.
He's
To the thingy.
Yeah, I'm floating.
Having an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Is it
So,
like Lazy
oh,
River, but just
My
Way less pleasant.
is my body still invisible because it was greater invisibility.
Your body is still invisible.
Okay. So
Akka, you feel the sensation of the darkness at the back of your eyelids go from dark to light, fading into a whiteness that then dims slowly, and you see peaks emerge from the swirling sands around. Several jagged mountains that rise up and into the air. The wind screams by them like spectral banshees. It's hard to tell whether it's still wind or actually verbal howling. And you see a place suddenly within these dunes that seems to shift and scrape and then become more liquid through the sand. You realize it has the consistency of almost leather, actually, almost like a sinkhole perhaps. But that is what you see during the course of your turn. That is Akka. That brings us to all of these undead.
I get to ponder.
Is there something that you want to ponder out loud?
No.
Okay,
Just
well.
kind of like
That is your free action pond?
I'm pondering how I can break this if I need to.
Fair enough. You do so. All right, on the creature's turns.
Free action ponder complete.
This guy is gonna still just gonna go right through Brenna, or try to. Okay, 5, 10, 15.
For my turns, I'm just gonna monologue for
I don't know, but his
a minute
face
about
was like perfectly framed and like
what
white.
Akka is thinking.
That is your turn. Is just a monologue.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's like a 30. What is it?
You slide out,
6
you
seconds
have
a
your
turn. So yeah, I'll just
You
like
get a pretty decent soliloquy
have a
out in that
couple,
time.
Is it gonna be a Larry David style monologue too?
Oh god. I mean, yay.
Maybe it'll be
Oh, there's a lot.
a little less. No, it'll probably still be some Larry David.
Oh, fuck, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, I realized I was just about damage, so I was like, oh yeah.
I feel like this happens a lot where
Oh boy.
Oakfeld becomes big and then everything just turns and goes, oh, Oakfeld, and then just immediately just starts like.
Oh, a tree is fighting us. Maybe we should prioritize this massive fucking tree.
Even like before a tree, like just many battles where Oakfeld ends up in the center of like a dog pile somehow.
It just happens.
All right.
Yeah, my
Tanky
ants will
tank.
be
He's big and he
Do
can't
my ants
fly.
get a turn on my next turn action?
Yes, they will.
Particularly
But you were 60 feet away, so presumably that's most of their turn getting there.
They can move 40. So
You still need a double move though.
yeah.
Okay, so Oakfeld.
Talent like
In total,
circumstance.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Talon, you're taking 5 attacks from regular undead.
Wait, Talon?
Sorry, I heard somebody say Talon, and that threw me off. Oakfeld. Oakfeld, you are
just
taking
throwing
5 attacks from undead.
He's very cute.
However, Brenna, what you really notice is these creatures all around you, you're focusing on this big one, and even through your rage, on the periphery of your vision, you are aware all of these undead creatures, although Akka's body presumably floating up at the top of the stone, out of reach of them, they're running and then starting to grab up, and then the next one, and you see like one of them almost crushed into the stone, and the next one begin to climb over top, and they will get to Akka. This is a point where, you know, it's like this horde that is beginning to congeal and climb over itself to get there, but not this turn. Oakfeld.
Yeah.
First, you are taking 5 attacks from these undead. The first one, oh, I forgot about how these guys have changed. This is so
Did I get
lovely.
like 5 seconds or so before they started attacking?
Please, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, for the minute. What's
Oh.
the timer right now?
No. You guys, you're at 6 seconds at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be a long
10
minute.
rounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oakfeld. This first one slams into you. That is going to be a 10 to hit.
Misses.
Okay. Second one is only going to be a 12 to hit.
Misses.
Let's go.
Okay. Next one, that is going to be, oh, that's much better. 24 to hit,
Hits.
and then a 23 to hit.
Hits.
Okay. So the first one, as it slams its fists into you, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw, please. It's going to forego its damage.
That is a 24.
A 24?
Yes.
Very nice. So this one creature, as it goes over to slam into you, slams its hands, and you feel they hit, but then it's almost like the flesh scatters like paint across your bark and then begins to harden. You feel roots creeping into your own, and you realize this is beginning to infect you. You pull away, able to break out. However, that is 2 of them. That is only, the one is definitely going to miss. The other one is going to be a 18 to hit.
I beat it.
Okay,
I got 19.
19, very nice. The third one is going to miss as well. Sorry, the fourth one is going to miss as well. Holy shit, these guys are terrible. So all of a sudden, all around you, these zombies slamming into you. All of you just hear it's like a real time strategy game. You have people just beating on a front door. You just hear
It's just like
yeah, it's just the same. You just hear the same sound of wood, like da-dum, 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 as it just like they're slamming their fists in, howling, but they're unable to reach past like the
resources are slowly stacking.
very slowly. Yeah. However, that is the smaller zombies. Silent are these mushroom-like creatures, but two of them do lumber over to you, Oakfeld. They're going to both take multi-attacks. The first one is going to be a 9 and a 14 to hit, because I can't roll well. I'm not going to use this dice
I
anymore.
haven't been hitting damage yet.
Okay, the second one, that's really far away. That is going to be a 7. I can't do 7 when I add them together. 20, 24 to hit.
Yeah, it's-
Helpful.
Okay, so
I think I'll probably use my concentration.
Akka, you are, or sorry, not Akka. Oakfeld.
Oh my god.
Oakfeld, you are going to be taking 13 plus. You are taking 17 points of slashing damage, plus
Yeah.
You're fine.
Lose the concentration of the
7 points of poison damage.
Yeah.
You don't make a con save.
There is no con save involved. All of these creatures now kind of converge in, and then this larger creature, sort of in front of all of you, Brenna. It's almost like it reaches for where Akka's body would be, but you being in between are taking this attack.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You're going to be taking a number of attacks, actually.
Bring it on.
Thanks, Brenna.
Okay, that is going to be a 28 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay, a 19 to hit.
Yep.
And then a 21 to hit.
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, Brenna, you are taking 22 points of slashing damage, plus 9 points of poison damage
Are
from the
those
first.
halved?
Those
Or
are not
those-
halved. Those are not
okay,
halved.
so 11 slashing and then 9 poison.
Yep. You are then taking from the second one 18 points of slashing damage plus
5 to 9.
12 points of poison damage. And then the third, 15 points of slashing damage plus 9 points of poison damage.
Does 15 get halved to 8,
To 7.
7?
Yeah, you round down.
You're fine.
And then, what was the other one? 9
9 poison.
poison.
And so this
I'm
creature,
fine.
You're fine.
and as it hits you, the split through the middle of its mushroom-like dome gets deeper, kind of splitting further, and then by the end of this attack, it's almost yawning open like a Y shape. It's badly damaged from this first round, but it hits you a couple of times. That is the end of its turn. That brings us to the top of the order. To Brenna.
All right.
Revenge.
Hit him with the axe.
All right. Well, I'm gonna like power up my axe, from which I can cast Sunbeam, and I'm
Sure.
just gonna
Yes.
I wanna pull an Akka and just. Can I get?
So Sunbeam is what as a template?
It's a 60-foot line.
Oh, it's 60 foot.
Oh,
Hold on, let me.
then that's gonna be
A 5-foot wide, 60-foot long line.
5 foot wide, 60 foot long.
So
I would say you got like 4 times this. So
I mean, I have no doubt that it's long enough. I just want to know how many guys I can get
Yeah.
in it without accidentally murdering
it
Akka.
looks like
Is it
7.
line of sight?
I would say
6 or 7?
6.
Yeah.
Starting at the big mushroom guy right back there, all of them
These-
in that order. would be
yeah.
this big.
So I'm gonna come around here. Probably an attack of opportunity.
And so, interestingly, it doesn't seem to swipe at you, and you're getting the sense, even through your rage, as long as you're flying, it's hard for it to detect where you are.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna cast Sunbeam
There you
just so. All right. Make a each of those boys has to make a DC. I'll put in the hold on. It's in the description of the axe, which is over here. DC 15 con save.
Okay, so that is a 25,
Get a
a
D8.
19. This is where all my good rolls are. A 23, a 23, a 9,
23 skidoo.
and a 7.
So 2 failures?
Yeah, that's good. I'm very happy with that.
Alright, oh, the maths. Okay, 8. So that's 22 radiant damage on the failures, and they're blinded, and then the ones who saved, 11 radiant damage.
And this is radiant damage, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. 22 points and blinded.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see as you swing your axe, and it almost like Thor hammer style pulls you a little bit over to the side. These new elements of runes that are wrapped into the binding of the handle of this axe seem to glow a little bit brighter and brighter. And all around you, there is this howling, swirling wind and the arcane thunder that seems to backlight this battle. But here, there's almost this eye of a storm that seems to emerge. And as this light brightens, for all of you, you can see almost the orb of power, the influence of Brenna's abilities seeming to push the wind aside. And then it condenses into a single point like a brilliant diamond in this darkness before exploding in this line. This is a pure white line of radiant energy that seems to burn through these creatures. However, as this light clears, all of them are still standing.
Question?
Yes.
Mechanical question.
Yeah.
So the regular sunbeam spell, you can keep doing that as an action.
Correct.
Is that the case for the?
I believe so, yeah.
It's up to you. You made the
yeah,
action.
and I believe it's for a minute is what the
Yes.
time says. So yeah, you have that for a minute.
Cool.
Anything else, Brenna?
Nope.
All right. You can see many of these undead. Those, even without eyes, seem to almost have like this shift where now, even before they were like a little bit listless, but now you see one of them and they run and then wham, right into a wall. Like certainly affected. It may not necessarily confuse them because they definitely can sense by tremor, but they are blinded. That is, those two, all of them seem to have some element of damage. It does about the amount of damage you would expect. Anything else, Brennan?
Nope.
Alrighty, Shay, you see this burst of radiant light. What would you like to do?
Still targeting the big guy. Pull out the staff.
Okay,
And jump down and wait on him.
there you go. Go ahead and make your
Get
attack.
him.
27 hits.
He's. Wait, no. That's a 30. I lied.
That doesn't hit anymore.
He's not a celestial demon, devil, or dragon subtype, is he?
He is not.
I didn't think so, but worth asking. That is 15?
15
No.
points.
17.
17. Okay.
Heavy weapon. 24.
24 hits.
New weapons.
10.
2 points.
And 22.
22 hits as well.
I can't remember. It's 12.
12. 12 to hit, or sorry, 12 points of damage.
12 points of damage. And then follow it up with a flurry.
Okay, go for it. So as you fly down from this ridge, take the Staff of Twisted Fates out for the first time. You hit it again and again, first swinging one way, then backhanding it over. And with each swing of the staff, as it impacts, the same way that Brenna formed almost a force field around her with this charge, there is this where the sand goes around. And for many of you who are near this, it pelts you hard. There are like cuts left over as the sand explodes away. This is powerful impacts. But what was that?
Natural 20.
That's what I thought.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
19?
19. 19 to hit?
19 points of damage.
Okay. I was going to say,
And then a 27 to hit
that hits.
for 11.
So Shay, with the Staff of Twisted Fates, you rush over, and this creature already like split in half you see these two disparate parts trying to fold, but these tongues, 5 of them now, like more and more beginning to emerge as they seem to almost wrap around elements of this flesh and then pull it back together. But you strike the points that seem to hold these tongues, and they snap, falling, these fleshy, spongy pieces of tissue that explode into these almost spore-like things that then just crisp and then fall into ash into the sand. But you hit it again and again, and with that last blow, you seem to strike something that holds it together at its core. And at the very center, there is this. Before, go ahead and. Where's my circle? Brenna, you are not there. Akka, you are not there. I need Aalinor and Oakfeld to make dexterity saving throws.
I'm good at that. I assume myself as well.
You as well. It's a dex saving throw, so
18.
18, nice.
That's not.
29.
Nice.
27.
Okay, so as this creature is hit finally with the Staff of Twisted Fates, there is this brilliant celestial light, almost like the sand itself parted from above, and then there's this streak of blue energy that seems to come from almost this sourceless place above. And as you hit, and this creature explodes, truly explodes, spreading these elements of like plague and pestilence everywhere. Oakfeld, you're a huge tree. You just kind of pull your branches across, and as it hits and burns, you just let that arm snap off and grow another one out. No problem. Aalinor, for you, you can dodge out of the way. You have to like almost jump back, take the sword and plunge it into the rock to kind of stay suspended as this rock, like almost like a tidal wave over top, and then you can pull yourself back up. All of you manage to succeed and take no damage from this. This big guy is gone.
nice.
Well done.
Get this big guy out of here.
Get out of here.
There you go. Even before it hits the ground, you're already back on the ridgeline. No problem for you, Shay. That is your turn. Aalinor, what would you like to do?
Alright, seeing that the big boy just died, the next closest guy are everyone just kind of around Oakfeld, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Oakfeld's
so-
about to have a really bad time, assuming I can roll higher than like 15.
So, but they are still within my rapier range. So I'm just going to use my rapier and attack the one that's closest. So I'll just say this little zombie guy.
Yeah, there are 2 of them, I believe, that are within rapier range from
Okay.
there.
So I'll strike the one that's closest. And try to help Oakfeld out here a little bit. It's cocked. I move this dice, it will fall. Okay, 19. That is much higher than 19 to hit. That is.
And that's going to hit.
Okay.
You need a 20.
Nice. So is this a
Oh,
sneak
sorry, I was looking at the big guy. No, way above. Yeah, you're way above what this guy did.
Is this a sneak attack?
Yes, this is a sneak attack. You have Oakfeld, who is sort of in base contact with everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of. They're having a day over there.
Oakfeld is like a sneak attack manufacturing machine.
I have so many dice I need to pick up. Man.
As you pull this rapier out and you begin to direct it, you see this one zombie almost separated from the pack. At first you don't see him, but then you just see this arm, and he's kind of tangled in the branches of Oakfeld's heel. And so you can just hear this like, and it's like just kind of breaking out elements of the wood. But absolutely a very, very good target for your sneak attack.
I 45 points of damage.
So you look over and you can just see this one hand sticking out of the branches. It's literal fish in a barrel. You direct, and as this rapier flies out, you aim for just below the hand, and you're rewarded as the whole arm just snaps off and just falls to the ground. You see the other arm fall out from the other side of Oakfeld's branches, and then like bit by bit, the different body parts like slide down to the ground. Dead is this creature.
Nice.
Well done.
And then with my action, I'm going to target the next closest with a dagger. So it's
Okay.
a 2060, so that's still within range, I think.
It's still within 60 feet, yeah.
It's yeah. So is that disadvantage?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's 60. All right. It's been a while since I've used a ranged weapon where it mattered.
Yeah. No worries.
Terrible. But no, I can't. Never mind. JK. I still. That's not. Maybe it's a 16. 16.
A 16 is exactly what you needed. So yeah, this dagger, almost like offhand thrown, it still manages to hit.
Max damage 10.
There you go. Hey, you know what? That one zombie eviscerated as your rapier goes through these little elements of wood from Oakfell, just gone. The second one, just like right in the neck. You see the dagger still there from a moment before, it just disappears. But yeah, absolutely. He's having a bad time. He's still like grabbing at this hole. You see like this thick congealed blood just getting all over the hands. But yeah, anything else?
No. Yeah, I don't want to move anywhere, so I'm just gonna hang out here.
All right, you just cling real tight to this rock, not wanting to be knocked off. Oakfeld, from where you are, your ants now have initiative. You have your ants who are all available. What do you want to do?
My ants are dead.
Your ants are dead?
Yeah, I lost concentration.
Oh, right. They're not dead though. They're just little actual sized ants. So,
but I'm gonna
But they're
pull out.
probably dead because they're
Yeah.
actual sized ants.
yeah,
Could burrow.
Top
He'll be
and I'm
okay.
They're
I'm
tough.
like
I think an ant taking a level of
Smushed
exhaustion kills it. And,
smushed underneath like a pile of mushroom fungus.
I get a giant goat.
a giant goat, fantastic. You could use any one of those models because
And this
this.
has no concentration. It's just a giant goat
Yep.
that lives here.
So you, this
Let's hear it out.
huge tree Oakfeld, you watch, like big branch reaches up, and from within the branches and twigs, he just yanks out a tiny little top hat, and then takes these little branches, and you can see like the branches have to grow even tinier twigs to reach into the top hat, and then pulls out a giant goat, roughly the size of a brown bear. It's just
Can that be the next one?
into the sand. You just hear as it just gets up and begins to get into combat mode.
Where should I put him?
You have to put him somewhere within 5 feet of you, so anywhere around your
You
feet.
can put him. Then
That
put one of the wolves.
Yeah.
Do you want to just move because the wolf you closer to you?
There you go.
Over
Yeah, yeah.
here.
Oh, one's right there. Oh, I didn't even notice
Yeah,
it. Yeah, just do that one. Perfect.
Where do you want it?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
took him
care,
off
wherever.
the field and
Yeah,
put him
right
back on the
Yeah,
field.
wherever.
So
I didn't know he was there. I was looking for him.
So this
Blended
goat kind of like digs itself out of the sand. It's ready for combat. You have a combat goat.
Nice. Can it attack on its turn or next turn?
If we survive eating well.
I believe it's its next turn because it's it has summoning
I think
sickness.
that's every
Roast
game.
goat?
Is he gonna let us?
For what?
Ants gotta eat.
So
is
We're
it
just
like
talking about whether the goat will be our dinner later, but
That's your turn, Oakfeld?
yeah, I have no damage. Only doing temporary damage. So I mean.
Perfect. Oakfeld casts a giant goat as his turn. That is Oakfeld's turn.
Yeah.
Akka, what would you like to do?
well, that's his response.
You know, I die right now.
Well,
Oh.
Arga's still out of body.
I'm giving him his 6 seconds that he demanded.
No,
there
I didn't demand it.
Your monologue, sir.
I die right
I'm
now.
ready to go when you're
It's-
done.
It's okay, you know. Maybe a couple people will remember me.
Past the
There's-
sinkhole, you can see crumbling sandstone buildings that have somehow stood against the wind, albeit damaged for some time. You can make out statues, columns, and towering walls that once supported second and third story turrets, and parapets, now ruins. The broken arches and fallen pillars begin to go faster and faster, and they zoom past you until suddenly you are pulled into a sprawling tower. Just before disappearing into the comparative darkness of the structure, you see this crackling lightning and hear explosions of thunder in the distance. And you see the structure that you are entering perfectly silhouetted from behind by the angular structure of the burning bastion. Just a shape in the darkness. Make a perception check, Akka.
With my special.
You're having an out-of-body experience, so no, you're not using your special eyes. Your ethereal being is trying to like pull down goggles that aren't there.
Oh, poop. That's a. Whatever a 2 plus my perception is.
Okay,
Oh, it's a 10.
great. in this moment of striking lightning and thunder, as you are pulled into the tower, you see these glowing runes, but you can't make any of them out. Into the darkness, and there is still stone passing. But that is 6 seconds. That is your turn, Akka, and that brings us to the top of the round. Brenna, you can see the huge creature falls into the ground dead. There are still many of these just swarming Oakfeld now. What do you want to do?
Did they go?
Huh? Oh no, I didn't go with the.
Well, I was gonna say, I was like, are all these guys still in the same place they were in before?
No,
That's convenient.
So
but-
I have so many undead that my undead health columns have reached into my initiative columns. So undead is right next to undead's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I didn't see them. Very good. Okay. Love
I
that.
didn't want to cheat with those.
No, I don't want to.
So important.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we're gonna fry him, we want to do it right.
All of these creatures, because the only target that they have available to them is Oakfeld, are going to swarm Oakfeld, which means Oakfeld. Oh boy.
Wait, also his goat.
Yep.
It's true.
Oakfeld goat.
I think maybe I missed it.
Two
Is
of them
Shay
are gonna
still
go
up
for
on
the
the
goat.
ridge?
9 of them are going to go for Oakfeld.
9.
Yeah, the 2 that are touching the goat will go for the goat.
There are 3 touching the goat. Oh, that one's
One
on
of them's
the
dead.
rock.
Yeah,
One
but
of them
I-
got eviscerated, didn't it?
Yeah, the one.
brought
Yeah,
it
that
off.
one's gone.
Yeah.
Oakfeld, only one's going for the goat. So Oakfeld, this
Hashtag
one
save
zombie,
goat.
when you see this giant goat pull itself out of the sand, it turns, takes these slam attacks against it. That is going to be a 18 and a 13. Do those hit?
For the goat?
Yep.
Neither. I check the goat's AC.
Oh, for the
Wow, the goat has an 11 AC.
An 11. You said wow, and I was waiting for it to be higher than
higher
slightly
than I
above
would've
average.
expected.
Hit points was 19. I thought it was AC. I was like, wow. 19.
Oh, that would be pretty good,
I
yeah.
was like, wow.
That is 9 points of bludgeoning damage from the first, along with
Yeah, probably gonna die.
12 points of bludgeoning
It's
damage.
dead.
Okay,
It's dead.
so
The goat's dead.
this goat just gets out of the sand, looks up, and you see gets ready to attack, and then all of a sudden from behind it, the zombie grabs on and just rips its throat out.
Felt pulling it out and then it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this creature had a really bad day. But that is that one that attacks the goat. Oakfeld, you are now going to take 18 attacks.
Let's do this.
Wait,
It's a multi-attack.
Oh my goodness.
so all the undead are over there now?
There's
Yeah, so all of
boys
them,
here.
this group, as soon as Oakfeld became Big Oakfeld and started throwing zombies around, they went from trying to climb up and get to where Akka was to all of a sudden, and then just swarming Oakfeld. Same exact thing, climbing over each other, clawing at Oakfeld's various stories.
So all of them, including these ones over here.
It's
Oakfeld.
gonna matter
The first 5,
for Hannah.
that is going to be a 24 to hit,
24 hits.
a 20,
No, no
Hits.
one's
A 13?
Misses.
an 11,
Misses.
and a 21.
Hits.
So that is going to be 3 hits in total from the first 5. That is going to be 10 points of damage from the first, 14 from the
That's
second,
fine. We knocked you over. That's why I was
Listen.
apologizing.
No, I mean, I am
11
surprised I
from the
lasted
third.
up there for as long as I have.
That's
To
5.
be honest. It's been a
That is a natural 20.
Situation.
That hits.
That is going to be a unnatural 20,
That hits.
a 23,
That hits.
a 9, and another 9.
Misses.
So the 2 non-natural 20s, or sorry, the two non-criticals. That is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage. 11 points of bludgeoning damage, and then from the critical, 17 points of bludgeoning damage. That is 10 of them. This is so great. That is another natural 20. That's another natural 20.
Shut up.
Ooh.
Okay. 16. Oakfeld, the hit.
Misses.
21
Hits.
and a 23.
Hits.
Okay, so the 2 non-critical hits. That is going to be a 13 points of bludgeoning damage. 11 points of bludgeoning damage. And 13 points of bludgeoning damage. Now the 2 criticals 15 points of bludgeoning damage. 19 points of bludgeoning damage. That's 15. So that's okay. 4 more. Oh, Oakfeld, that's good for you. 8 to hit. 11 to hit.
Oh, 8 misses. 11 misses.
21 to hit.
21 hits.
And a 22 to hit.
22 hits.
Okay. So that is going to be 14 points of bludgeoning damage, followed by 13 points of bludgeoning damage. Oakfeld, are you still up?
I have 17 HP.
Now it is time for the Shepherds of Rot, these 3 mushroom-like creatures. However, you made it through 19 attacks from zombies, just ripping at you, pulling elements of wood away, the bark into the actual heartwood itself, and there's now sap running down your body. And then these 3 other creatures still
That's with my
there.
temp HP.
Oakfeld. That is going to be...
Don't say.
No, it's not good. That is going to be an 11 and a 7 to hit. So the first one misses both claw attacks. That's going to be a 7 and a 12 to hit.
Misses.
The zombies are so much better. Fine. Okay, that is going to be a 20 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, and the other one's definitely going to miss. So one of them, of the 3 more elite units, actually hit. That is going to be... Okay, 13... 15 points of bludgeoning damage plus...
I have 2 HP left.
Ooh.
Not anymore.
Plus 12 points of poison.
Oh no!
And so Oakfeld, as as close to a little bit more than a dozen undead creatures and mushroom-like creatures swarm you. All of you watch for the first time as Oakfeld, these zombies climbing up the wood, like reaching in, snapping off branches. You watch as Oakfeld's mouth is like ripped open by these zombies. One of them like climbing in. Oakfeld chomps one of them almost in half, but it's too many of them, and Oakfeld is like shrinking back into human form as he's pummeled into the ground. But Oakfeld, you are down. That is their turn. That brings us to the top of the initiative order. Brenna, you turn, having just like triumphantly burst a whole bunch of these, and then you watch as Oakfeld is just ripped down into the sand. What do you want to do?
Well, I'm gonna do another sunbeam, and I'm gonna try. There's a nice line here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna avoid Oakfeld, but how many can I get in my straight line?
I would say from where you are in the best shot scenario.
Yeah, give me the best shot scenario, Joe.
You can get all 3 of those mushroom creatures and 2 of these zombies.
Let's do it. All right. So DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Can I have a D8 again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Let's hold on to it until the battle's done.
Yeah. Do you want the special one?
That is a very nice line. That is all of the elite units that you have on the battlefield in one shot.
All right. DC 15 con save.
Alright, so for the 2 zombies, that is going to be... Oh, my zombies are so good! That is going to be a 21. This is a 13 on an 18. And then a 17.
They're still succeeding.
Yeah.
Boo. All
Okay,
right.
and then the 3 bigger guys who are probably going to roll terrible. Yeah. That is an 11, a 19, and a 16.
11. So 1 failure.
Okay. Okay, hey, you know what? That still counts.
All right, so hold on. All right, so it's 16, 26. So the failure takes 27 radiant damage and is blinded.
So you watch as one of the ones that was hurt badly before just explodes into radiant fire. You see the flesh become blackened and then just bone. It's like the Terminator thing where they're holding onto the fence and the explosion goes off and it's just like a skeleton now.
And then for the ones who succeeded, 27 half would be 13. I can never keep them in my head when I'm supposed to round up or down.
That sounds right. It's almost always down.
Okay, so 13 radiant damage and not blinded.
Hang on 1 second here. This is math.
Math break.
So, you watch as a second one just explodes in radiant fire, and then 3 or 4 more of them, crispy, burning, these white flames like licking up elements of the flesh. You can smell burning, rotting flesh in the air. But still alive are these other creatures, relatively speaking.
Jeez. All right. I guess I'm gonna stay put unless maybe it makes sense to go in, trying to protect Oakfeld's sad little body.
As the burst from the sunburst like clears away, and you can see the burning elements of zombies, you do see in the sand the very sad, small human form of Oakfeld, unconscious, his little top hat falling off his head.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna fly in. I'm not gonna land, but I'm gonna just fly in and get closer to Oakfeld.
Okay.
So that maybe I can help him out.
No problem. Your winged sandals, as you go over top Oakfeld, he is now directly beneath you. No problem.
Here we go.
That is your turn, Brenna.
Yes.
Shay, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna jump down and go stabilize Oakfeld.
There you go. So you kind of sigh, realizing that part of your being on the sideline all the time means that you're also kind of required to pick people up, and you just run back from the ridge. Go ahead and make a medicine check.
What is a 24?
And so Oakfeld, everything goes dark. In this moment, you pull the goat out and you watch as the goat is basically consumed before it hits the ground. And then as you like rear up ready to avenge it, you go to pull your hand and you can't. There's like 4 zombies pulling it down. You're like brought down to 1 leg. You feel the bark getting pulled away and you just collapse into darkness. And then right as you feel like almost like you are returning to the earth, there is a big into your chest, and you open your eyes kind of for just a moment before you close them, stabilized and no longer unconscious.
Sorry, 1 HP.
I don't think so.
Stabilized is 0 HP, but
You don't have to make death
not
saves.
making death saves. And then
We're all
I'm gonna
gonna
take a
tell you.
stance kind of over Oakfeld,
Okay.
and then the closest big guy
Okay.
is taking a few hits here
Make an attack roll.
with the staff.
You know it's serious when Chase stays in the battle.
That is a
Here I am, just floating around.
21 plus 11.
21 plus 11. Yeah, that's gonna hit.
God's work.
32.
Yeah.
That does it.
32.
Saving your spell slots. You know,
Mhm.
good.
Mm-hmm. Saving those flash of geniuses for later.
Keep them in your pocket. You know?
Yeah, just in case we survive this.
21.
21 points of
Okay.
damage.
Yeah.
So you can see one of these creatures already pretty badly damaged. They had just taken this big gout of sunbeam. As you reach over, and this is with the Staff of Twisted Fates, you strike it, and you can see the elements of glimmering energy within seem to almost kind of come out, and then just penetrate in different angles. And then this creature just slides into different thirds and hits the ground dead. You could take one of those mushroom guys out.
And the
See if I
next
can reach him.
closest creature I can hit from this position.
Yeah. I would say from there, probably the zombie that's standing up on the rock.
Solid. Again with the staff.
Yeah. And this one's looking dicey already. Looking at this thing, the arm has like pulled down. The bones aren't attached. The flesh, just a strip, is hanging, and the arm dragging in the sand behind it. It's in bad shape.
28.
28 hits, yeah. 17. You can see it's just barely dangling by like an element of flesh, and so you go and you hit that, but so powerful is the Staff of Twisted Fates that it just bisects the arm, the torso, and the hip, and the thing just slides in half into the sand dead.
And then bonus action is patient defense.
Okay. You level the staff, and almost like a 60-foot line in front of it, the sand parts slightly. You ready your patient defense. That is your turn, Shay. That brings us to you, Aalinor. Beneath you, you watch as Oakfeld is just yanked down into this mass of writhing flesh and undead creatures. And then both Shay and Brenna sort of arrive taking defensive postures around Oakfeld's body. What do you want to do?
So seeing that they went down to help, I'm going to... There's 2 big guys up still. I'm gonna aim for the closest big guy.
Okay.
See if I can at least pull some damage on him. So hit him with a rapier.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's not disadvantage. That would be math. 28 to hit.
28 hits. As the rapier goes to the first target, Shay arrives and it just slides into thirds, and the rapier just passes through where it was, goes towards the second target, and Shay hits it again. This one slides in half, and the rapier almost is like turns to look back at you, like, dude, really? But then you just whistle again, and it's like, all right, and goes towards the third, and that one it strikes home.
Sneak attack?
I would say yes, this is a sneak attack based on the fact that it is now bordering like everybody.
Yeah.
And there are now footsteps around it with Shay. It has the sense that there are other people there, and this is definitely a sneak attack.
All let it dice. It is really satisfying to roll this many at once, is really what it is.
Sneak attack is just like...
More D6.
All of it. I have exactly as many d6s as I need, so if we level up again, I
We
need
need
more
like
d6s.
a little suspended thing with a ripcord that you can pull, and all the d6s just come down.
Right?
Shoots right into a tower.
Yeah, oh man, great.
It's one of those kibble dispensers for when you went to like the petting zoo.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pull the thing, release a bunch of d6.
And we'll go
37.
to... Oh, 37, okay.
Put a patent on that.
37. So with a 37, as you whistle and the rapier's finally like, all right, sure, this one. It goes through, and it's almost like the rapier has pent up anger from this, and it goes and just straight across, and you can see this creature, the mushroom arms almost like peel apart, and then the rapier goes by, turns on its heel, and then straight through the creature. You see almost like this hole. The rapier gets stuck and has to tug its way through as the handguard gets a little bit stuck, but you just see the hole in this creature before into the ground.
Nice.
You can pull another one of those mushrooms out.
And then...
God
dang it.
You've murdered Aalinor.
It's fine.
Like a death saving throw.
And then I'm using the dagger. I can use my attack action to hit the closest small guy.
Go for it.
I still have a pretty good chance. That's a 20, a dirty 20.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay.
As the rapier goes through and you can hit these larger creatures, this
7.
little zombie at the bottom, barely even hard for you, however, as the dagger just cuts across the elements of undead flesh, there is no blood, it is just dry, desiccated skin. Doesn't even seem to really notice, although this creature badly hurt. But anything else, Aalinor?
No, that's it.
Alrighty. Oakfeld, in your current state, you are stabilized and unconscious. And so for this moment, is there anything, I know you have some weird abilities, is there anything that you have that you can do right now?
Nope.
Okay. So very similar to Akka, that is your turn. Akka.
You know, maybe I've been too hard on it.
Then you vanish into the structure, past tables of stone and jars of broken glass, down a staircase that bends at 90 degrees halfway down. Iron wall sconces light the way, or they would if anything burned within them. As you see your way down, at the bottom of this small cellar, the stone wall seems to almost part, and a massive door of celestial rooms that has a bald, angelic figure in the center, wings outstretched, eyes open, the one gold one seems to have been removed or fallen away with time. There are cracks in this ancient place. These runes glow, hovering like glyphs over overlapping circular sparks a quarter-inch off the surface of the door, almost like a hologram, if a hologram shed the occasional spark to the ground. And then, almost at once, you start to draw away from it, and you start your return trip back to your body, presumably.
Do I recognize this figure that was at the end of this spirit journey?
Make a religion check.
Oh boy, it's tough night. That's gonna be another 8.
Another 8. As your consciousness pulls away from this, you just try and you go again to pull down your special eyes. Nothing there. This is an out-of-body experience. You just can't make out enough detail.
Stand out of the way.
And you sadly, even in this ethereal kind of place, you still find a way to be sad, but you manage to make your way home. That brings us to the undead creatures. The undead creatures with Oakfeld now hitting the ground almost at once turn to Shay, the only person really in striking range. Shay, the undead swarm you.
Go ahead.
So you are going to be taking 9 regular undead and the one remaining big guy.
All at disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Okay, so first 3. That is going to be a 21 to hit,
Meese.
a 21 to hit,
Meese.
okay, advantage, and a 17 to hit.
Meese.
Next up, we have. Oh wow! Okay, 21 to hit. Another 21 to hit. Fantastic. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are that is going to be a 24 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay,
Oh.
they can just barely hit you. It's like close. Next one misses as well. That is 6. The 7th one is going to miss. The 8th one is going to miss, and the 9th one gets a natural 20, which is going to be a hit. So you get 2 hits as 9 of these creatures. For all of you who are watching, and Akka, unfortunately, you're not hasted, so you don't get to see this. You would get the best view of this. But Shay almost doesn't seem to move. It is like one reaches out, and Shay moves just the barest amount so that it reaches by the shoulder and seems to almost push another one of the zombies away as they come in. Shay isn't really so much dodging as Shay is using these zombies against each other. And you're watching as one zombie reaches out and just claws another zombie in the face. It looks like Shay is doing almost nothing, but very few of them hit. However, 2 do. Yeah, actually, very much like a waterbender. Where did
Or an airbender.
all my dice went away?
I just
Where'd
imagine
your dice
like,
go? Oh
I
no.
don't know. No.
If you don't have
What
any
happened to
dice.
dice? That is going to be 15 points of bludgeoning damage in the first one, and 13 points of bludgeoning damage from the second one. The attack from this big zombie or big mushroom-like creature. First attack at disadvantage is going to be a 17. And the second one is going to be a natural 1. So you watch the final one as this bigger creature comes up and takes this huge protrusion-like claw and swipes it across. You stop it, just kind of catching it with one hand. You take your other hand and snap the wrist, just breaking it, and then you shove this creature back, and as it twirls, it slashes across with this discombobulated hand and rakes into one of these zombies. It will deal damage to its friend instead. And as the zombie already smoldering and burning with elements of this arcane fire from Brenna, it just gets raked, and you see like elements of it split apart, just the bone holding it together as it falls apart. You can pull the big skeleton in the middle out if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, that guy.
Big boy.
And that is the undead's turn. That brings us to the top of the order, Brenna. You now floating over top the unconscious Oakfeld. You can see Shay just kind of moving all these creatures around. They're almost like water over top. What do you want to do?
All right, since Shay is here and Oakfeld is stabilized, I'm gonna fly around here. Whoops! to try to
You fly
get.
around, and as you
fine.
do, your braid whips out, and you're going so fast, it just knocks Aalinor off the rocks.
I'm gonna try to get myself lined up with as many of the guys as I can.
Okay.
What do you think, boss?
I'm gonna say you can get 3 skeletons and the big guy, or you can get 4 of the skeletons.
5.
Oh yeah, if you went that way, but you wouldn't get the big guy that way.
But the undead. Sorry, am I noticing that the undead are particularly vulnerable to the radiant?
It doesn't
damage?
seem to be.
Oh, okay. I'll go the route that hits as many individuals as possible.
Okay. That is going to be, I believe, either 4 or 5 of those zombies. I can't see if there's one on the other side.
There's
There is,
4 here, yeah.
All right, DC 15 con
That
saving
one column
throw.
of rock is just high enough that I can't see on the other side of it.
DC 15 con saving throw.
Okay. That's disappointing. That's going to be a 23, and then the next highest is a 12.
Okay, so
That's 3 failures, I think.
Yeah.
Nice damage in.
Oh,
All
boy.
right. So that is 18.
These are the best smelling ones. These are the freshest guys.
18, 28. So 28 damage, radiant damage, and blinded for the ones who failed, and 14 damage for the one who saved.
So not that the blinding affects them a terrible amount, but you do see 3 of them just like trying to rip at these like dry sockets, pulling dry skin away from the bone. But anything else, Brenna?
Nope.
Okay, so again, this big burst of radiant energy, kind of displacing the sand of this place. That is Brenna's turn. That brings us to Shay. Aalinor, you're on deck. Shay, from where you are, this radiant beam just goes like over your shoulder. You watch as like several of these skeletons are just like charred and burning, howling, like clawing at their own eyes. What do you want to do?
Not leaving Oakfield, so kind of swinging at the ones that are still within reach.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Whichever one is the closest.
Yeah, so you can see there are 2 that are about equidistant, but the one closest is like the armored one directly in front of you. So no problem. 24 hits.
Points.
21 points of damage. And this is on the one that's armored right there.
Yeah.
So for this one, as soon as you hit it, it's almost like you strike into, it's like bowling a strike. Bones everywhere. The armor that it was wearing falls down. You can see elements of like corruption and plague leaking out of it and into the sand, but that one is down.
Next one.
Go ahead and make your attack roll. Matt, can you pull that armored skeleton off?
This one?
Yeah.
30.
30 hits. You can see this other one wrapped in like bandages at one point, maybe like a medical patient. The bandage is burning away. You can see it's basically just like a naked zombie.
19.
19 points of damage. Neither naked nor a zombie anymore. As you swing the Staff of Twisted Fates, it almost obliterates the torso of this creature. The bandages just like a streamer into the sky. That creature is dead. You can pull that one out as well, Matt. Mummy-looking one.
Another one close enough.
Without moving, you've now cleared the ones immediately in contact. There's one about 10 feet away from Oakville.
Okay, I will go hit that one and then reposition over.
There you go.
This one over here, or the one?
Probably the one behind, because
Yeah.
Actually, you take your foot and kind of loop it into the strap of Oakfeld's sandal, and then jamming your foot forwards, Oakfeld's whole body just in the sand, and then you just take another step over him. You basically use him like a skip it, but no problem. Make your attack roll.
that's a
29, no problem. You actually use Oakfeld and just swing him into the skeleton, almost plowing the skeleton over.
Alright.
Roll your damage.
26.
26 damage? Damn. You just hit a dude with another dude. And technically, if Oakfeld is made out of wood, he is a staff, and you are proficient with Oakfeld. So you take the Staff of Twisted Fates, kind of clutch it into the crook of your arm, and then using Oakfeld like a skip it, you swing it, knocking the skeleton from its feet, and as it hits the ground, you then take the Staff of Twisted Fates, uncork it from your arm, and basically bisect the head into the sand. That creature is dead as well.
And then reset over Oakfeld with patient defense again.
There you go. You just kind of nudge Oakfeld back under your legs with the heel of your foot. And there you go. That is your turn, Shay. Fantastic. Aalinor, you watch as Shay just like obliterates the undead around Oakfeld. You can see there is still one of these mushroom creatures. There are still a few of these zombies left. But by and large, many of these things dispatched. What do you want to do?
Alright, so it's
And you do see there is arcane flame burning off of many of them from the bursts of energy from Brennistal.
Okay. Okay. My thought is to go down, go to this rock, and see if I can make it to that rock with a jump.
Yeah, go ahead and make an acrobatics check.
Okay. And then I'm going to, yes. Oh. Yeah, that'd be fair. I was gonna do a thing, and then I realized that, like, it's probably fine. Knowing the things that are spores. Goodbye!
It's gone forever.
It's gone.
One of our house rules is if your dice touches the ground, you can't pick it up.
There is a D20 that is under there, probably from last night.
It's probably from down.
Acrobatics, so that's a dirty 20.
Okay, so as the rapier returns from its last strike, you grab the handle, and it's not enough to support you, but it slows your momentum, so you kind of like slide down the rock, and then jump to the first one, leap to the second one much more effectively, kind of landing there, no problem.
Okay, and then I'm gonna try. You know, I've fallen off of so many rocks today. That's gracious of you to think that I would be able to
There
run
you
that far. I'm going to bonus action attack the big guy.
There you go. Make your attack roll.
It's not disadvantage.
Yeah, that is a disadvantage with range. With the dagger?
No.
Oh, okay.
Bonus
Yeah,
action's the rapier.
There you go.
I'm trying to remember which one's exhausted and which one is not.
Sure.
And I'm going to use my new special thing of re-rolling an attack.
There you
To
go.
re-roll that one.
Oh, that's so
A
special.
little bit better. Sweet. That is a total of 22 to hit.
22 hits.
Okay. I'm going to assume this is not sneak attack because it's not engaged with anyone.
No, not a sneak attack.
Yeah, regular. Not bad. Math. 9.
9 points of damage?
Yep.
Second here. Okay.
And then I'm gonna use my regular action to hide.
Make a stealth check.
That's a disadvantage.
Regular action.
Yeah, instead of a bonus action special one. Oh, that's a second natural 20 that I've had to throw away, and I'm very sad.
Aw.
That's another natural fucking 1. So
rolled a 20
a 20 and a 1. Yeah, it's
Amazing.
great.
Amazing.
Perfect.
So
You-
this is you basically like blending in. You go like full. What's his name? PETA in Hunger Games. You just vanish into the rock, and you know that you're hidden so well. So everybody hears just this yes as you blow your stealth. But you not so good.
I tried.
There
That's
you
it.
go. That is your turn, Aalinor. That brings us to Oakfeld. Oakfeld, in your unconscious state, you feel like thump, thump, and you hear around you, but you can't see anything. You don't really perceive this. This is just like a bad dream. You're beginning to get kind of a headache, though, for sure. Akka, what do you want to do?
Am I back?
You have 6 seconds to monologue.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite been 10 rounds yet.
I really thought
I
it
feel
was.
like we're doing okay. Maybe we won't die. Maybe I'll be nicer to Oakfell.
You float past these tables, past the broken jars of broken glass, and then you turn as you continue to travel across this place. And once more, make a perception check. You get one more chance. Not with your special eyes.
All right, there we go. There we go. It's 24.
A 24. With a 24,
Can I flash of genius?
you cannot. With a 24, when you are technically unconscious, you can't use bonus actions. With
No, it's
a
as a reaction.
oh, okay. You certainly cannot. use bonus.
My
You turn
eyebrows
and
just
you
raised
look.
Slightly.
No one.
can see.
There is a crack of lightning and thunder, and as that illuminates through the howling winds and the sands, you do see these burning ruins. Not celestial as you first thought, because you are in a place garrisoned by these angelic beings. These are different. You don't speak a language that matches up to these. But what I would say is with the 24, 2 of them you certainly remember.
Yay.
And having learned this from previous lessons, you see a pencil line that is the bottom of the road. So you walk sadly, keeping these things in mind. that is your turn. That brings us to these undead. They're going to continue to pile around Shay.
Did I get the full number of how many there were?
You did. I would say with that roll, there is a grand total of. I think I know this, but I just want to make sure.
Given the size of the two that I did see,
There's 8.
How much? Okay.
8 in total. You see 2 rows of 3 and then a final row of 2. So that is what you see. The undead.
Final row of 2.
You don't remember which 2 those are.
Okay.
Shay, these things swarm around you. You're going to be taking quite a few attacks, although fewer and fewer of around. These are at disadvantage. You took
Correct.
defense. Okay, so first one is going to be just a 15.
That is a miss.
Second one is going to be just an 11.
Miss.
Third one, best one so far, at a 17.
Miss.
Okay, that's 3. One more, I think. And a big guy. That is going to be a natural 20 and a 15.
Natural 20 roll.
Natural 20 is disadvantage, so that's a 15. The big guy lumbers over and taking his 2 attacks at disadvantage. That is going to be a 23.
That matches. That is exactly what
Meets
you
it, beats it. And then the next one, 21, which is going to be a miss. So 1 hit in total. So with every round, I get 1 hit on you. That's pretty good. That is going to be 16 points of bludgeoning damage plus 14 points of poison damage. That is his turn. That is all of the undead. That brings us to the top of the round, Brenna. You can see Shay just like tearing apart these creatures. You watch as in the periphery of your vision, Aalinor leapfrogs from one of these stone columns to the other and then throws a dagger into the melee. What do you want to do?
Can I do a sunbeam without hitting Aalinor?
I mean, yes.
I mean, I know I can. Let's see.
There is currently a position where you can hit 3 zombies and the
right there,
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna come around here and sunbeam that way. So 3 zombies and the there's a 4th guy here.
It's the mushroom guy, right? Isn't that? Are they all in the line? I can't really see from this
there's a 4th
perspective.
zombie right
Yeah,
here.
there's 4 zombies.
Oh, the dwarf zombie. He's covered up by the other zombie
Yeah.
from me. Okay, yeah. Great. 4 zombies and a big guy.
Anybody else.
Agreed.
Yeah. DC
All
15.
There is one person that got a 19. The next highest one is 10.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's a 1 save.
Alright,
Oh, no.
the roll is not good though.
Well, these
for the
guys are
damage.
every single. There is one guy that is completely unhurt. Everybody else falling apart, slightly on fire. You can see elements where like little daggers have dug in and disappeared. They're looking rough.
Okay, so 18 damage and blinded for the ones who failed, and then 9 damage for the one who saved.
You see all of these creatures just burst into this radiant ball of fire before falling to the ground, with the exception of the one who was undamaged, and they are badly hurt. They did not make their save, and so you can see like their arms are on fire, like both of the eyes, the only zombie to have these blinded eyes, just burst, and these like little elements of like smoke puff out. In rough shape, but still alive. There is now one of these mushroom creatures and one of these zombies left.
Alright, that's on my turn.
There you go, Brenna. Shay, what would you like to do? You see there are only 2 of these evil beings left.
I'm gonna start with the mushroom creature.
There you go.
That is a 28.
28 hits. This first strike, as it hits into like the chest cavity of it, it just caves in. And you can see if there are bones here, they're all broken. But you doubt it. It's almost like this thing folds in on itself, more like a fabric than an actual being. But still, just barely with 1 hit point is it alive.
Guess it's getting the next one. That's 31.
No problem. You swing end over end, and the staff of Twisted Faith just bisects it in half. into the sand. Mushroom creature is dead.
Next one is a 24.
24 hits. You can see this lone zombie looks to the left, looks to the right.
So hard to grab.
There's nobody left. It is just him.
Because we have to go.
23.
Shay, tell us how it happened.
Yes. Nice little explosion of pieces of painting.
No problem. For all of you watching, the howling wind, the explosion, arcane thunder, and lightning around this place, Shay twirls the Staff of Twisted Fates, and all of the sand in like a 60-foot sphere around Shay out. And in this like single moment, all of you have perfect clarity of vision as you bring like an uppercut swing, and the staff explodes this zombie. There's a brief moment of and then just everywhere. Brenna, you are the closest, and Oakfeld, although you are unconscious, you also feel just fluid across you. You are pelted by zombie parts, and I will take you out of initiative order because you have survived this combat. You just threw Oakfeld in front of it, oncoming.
That works.
Body blow. Yeah, basically. You saw this horde of zombies, and you guys just cut a tree down in front of them. But well done.
I'm gonna drop my rage and fly down and cast Cure Wounds on Oakfeld.
There you go.
Nice.
So
I can cast
Oakfeld, all
spells.
of a sudden, your heart just kind of pulses, and you hear it again, and then you open your eyes, sand gets in them. It is this horrible place where nothing grows, but you are still alive.
Oh, thank you so much.
I rolled min life for you, so you get 3 HP.
And then you kind of pass out again from pain, and then you just come back barely alive, especially with the HP pool that you're working with, but you are alive.
Climb back on top of the arch to try to keep an eye on Aki, even though he's invisible.
Okay.
Just to see if there's any sort of disturbance.
Feel his presence.
Feel his
Aka, you cross this kind of plane, and then all of a sudden sink heavily into your body because you are like just floating, just the tip of your finger holding you up. As you kind of regain and you lose your balance, this is like the moment where Yoda is teaching Luke the Force, and Luke just loses balance. If Yoda was atop you, this is the moment where he goes, whoa! And you just fall down, face plant into the stone, and then into the sand below.
Can I like catch
Make
myself
a dexterity saving.
with my flying? Because like
Make a dexterity saving throw.
That was beautiful.
oh my God. 14.
And
14.
none of us can see
With
it.
the 14, you don't get to make it. None of you see Aka face plant into like the edge of the stone.
You're like,
If you
Just a
weren't like,
cloud of sand.
yeah,
off of sand,
if you weren't
yeah.
like a level 17 hero, this is like broken nose, possible fractured maxilla, but no problem for you. Just off the stone, and you just land in your back on the sand. None of you see that, but you do see like little bits of color swirl and return as like the greater invisibility ends. And Aka, you are back, and you know the way. And as you turn and look at the sand, you see this glowing golden line that traces through, and you can follow this. You would imagine to the ruins of Aalinor. But because it is 8:43, I do want to step away for a quick break before we wrap up. It is 8:43. Thanks for hanging out with us so far. We're going to be back at 8:53 to wrap up this session. We'll see you then. welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us through the break. We are going to just jump right back into our D&D game, and I'll show you guys real quick. Close-up of the battle that just happened. You can see here on the desert, sort of demi-plane of Calypso. So our group has defeated a huge number of undead, along with these mushroom-like creatures that seem to almost shepherd them along. Akka, you have actually gained the ability to now navigate through the Huntlands into Aalinor, your next destination. All of you here with these undead creatures still like twitching in the sand, but it is safe. What would you all like to do? Nice. Good plan.
That was my
Is Akka
hitting the
like
ground.
visible? Do we
You
know
see-
where Akka is?
Yeah,
You'll see Akka for a second, but
it's
then
a
you just
minute
see
for greater
then-
invisibility,
Oh,
so
okay.
it goes away pretty much the exact same time.
It's almost
as
like
I
paint falls
hit the
away
ground,
from him, and the paint's the invisibility as he becomes more real.
and I am just laying on the ground next to the pillar.
His cloak like folded backwards over him. Yeah.
Eleanor's
Ren
like,
is-
nope,
sorry.
so no, you go first.
Brenna's gonna like prestidigitate herself clean from the gross fluid that exploded onto her, and she's gonna turn to Akka and be like, "Well,
I know where we need to go.
good work."
Once Eleanor realizes that like the battle has ended, she's gonna hop down and like go check on Oakfield and be like, "Are you all right?"
Yes. Take your sword back. Break back no.
You took a few chunks there. You once again, you are way too proficient at punching people back to life.
I'm up on the charge, so you're way too using the opportunity to kind of look out and make sure there's nothing else approaching.
Make a perception check.
I imagine Eleanor just was so focused on Oakfell that she didn't notice at first, so she said that and then turned her head and realized Shay was nowhere near her.
There's just 2 footprints.
Yep.
26.
26. From on top of the arch, you look out, kind of bending out and taking a view of the sort of horizon here. You see these crackles, almost like lightning that crawls through the sky, this purple lightning in the distance. And it does silhouette here and there outcroppings of rock and mountains. And in the very far distance, you do see here and there other shapes moving. More of the undead. Not necessarily coming towards you, just milling.
I'm gonna bonus action transform into a tree.
Okay. So now you like wake up back in your little human form and you're like, oh, gross. Up into a tree, no problem.
And as I do that, I'm trying to renew the energy that I have in myself, because I don't know if there's any energy that I can take from this world to improve myself.
You close your eyes, and as you stretch your branches, almost reaching for a sun, there is none. There is no warmth here that would provide you any kind of growth. It is just the 100+ degrees of humid, sort of almost like you're in an oven.
Yeah, just use what's in the rest of there.
There you go.
I'm gonna heal myself with my half health full stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, does that mean you're back to half?
Yeah.
Okay. Brenna, excited to have a use for her sorcerer spell slots, is going to cure wounds on top of that. Just a little more. 2 more first level castings of cure wounds. Oh, look at that. So 17 more points of
Nice.
healing.
Excellent.
And so, Oakfeld, as you draw on those inner reserves, it's not quite enough. You feel the wood try to stitch itself back together, but it can't. And then from off and in the sand, just a little ways, Brenna, these little lights that had kind of floated around her during the battle, seem to almost just dissipate. And as they burst into sparks, these sparks drift in the wind over to you, and it feels like these are what help you heal. You gain a little bit of healing back.
All right, let's get moving, I guess. I'm gonna start trying to look for Highland and Aira. And see,
I'm
like,
just starting to follow the line, staying super aware
Okay.
of any like ambushes, anything like that.
So Akka walks head on a pivot. As you look for Aira and Highland, you can see they join Akka, like already on their way. Shay, you join as well? No problem.
I'll also join.
well, move out, I guess.
Oakfeld?
I'm gonna pull something out of my hat.
Okay.
Alright, no, that's a D20. Where's my
Oakfield, you stand up from the dust. Now a little bit more healed. You reach down with your 2 branches, pinch the hat off the ground, and with 2 more branches, reach in.
That's a 6.
What is that you're pulling out?
Another giant goat.
You can see very similar to the last one. It looks around, almost seeming to look for its mate, but you have another giant goat at your disposal.
Oh, a short goat tragedy occurred today.
So you follow, taking up the rear, and as you walk by, you mindfully kind of step to the left of the goat so that the goat doesn't see, like crunched into the sand, still sprawling up, almost like a spider that has like legs folding in when it dies. The last goat that is like crushed, but the goat is none the wiser. You move off. You begin to walk, following Akka, and Akka, as you look into the sand, you can see there is this glowing line. Even as the sand shifts and moves and the howling winds here, this gold never changes, never alters. It seems to go true. And after walking for like 20 minutes, the first of these jagged peaks looms out of the sand. You see, it's almost like it's not there, and then just there's like a shadow and then a mountain. That one passes. You walk another 20 minutes. And as you are all walking, the wind howling, these sharp bits of sand pelting at your skin, go ahead and make another Constitution saving throw. Aalinor, you're aware that as this wind constantly by your ears, it is grating, but not just grating on your mind, it is grating on your soul. You are feeling exhausted already.
Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure it's definitely a failure regardless.
Okay,
16.
great,
21.
great.
7.
Not as great.
Can I see
Tick that up right now.
that Aalinor is lagging and Flash of Genius?
So what I'll say is there is this moment where as you are like leading the group, you said that you were very aware. And so you turn, you look, and you see you are missing somebody. And as you look even further, like 20 feet back, you can see Aalinor is struggling. You flash as you use your special eyes. Suddenly, 20 feet back, you can see like knee down in the sand, just like gasping, is Aalinor.
You okay?
Oh, it's so hot.
What does the Flash of Genius push to? +5 is what?
12.
Even with this, it doesn't
Good try.
feel as if it really helps too much. And Aalinor, you take another level of exhaustion.
Genius.
As you make your way past another hour, going past 3 or 4 of these mountains on the sides, it's almost like they funnel the wind into a driving force. And no longer is it just cutting you. It is really almost making it impossible to go on. But knowing how important it is, you will yourself through and you continue.
I'm like, I have a cloak wrapped, but it's like, you can tell I'm struggling between having it wrapped to protect myself from the sand, but having it too close to my body because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of uncomfortable movement as she kind of like trudging through.
But you do. And after the first hour, Akka, the line hooks and turns far to the north and then a little bit more to the east. And suddenly in the distance, you're able to see just these shadows of ruins. You could see walls, you can see kind of like crumbling brickwork, and you see a statue. It looks like almost an element of like a humanoid, although now kind of crumbling into dust. You recognize this way, and you know that you are coming upon this structure in just a little bit that you vanished into in your vision.
The ruins of Aalinor?
Yeah. And as you look at the map that you have in your hand at the moment, you can see those ruins kind of marked off in that space.
Okay. We're almost there. Ruins of Aalinor. I like pass this down the line for people to review.
Okay. One by one, you all look at this map and you're like, oh, yeah, I can see, there's like little peaks and everything. And the Huntland's great. There's
Circle
this.
I'm gonna show it to the goat.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, don't feed the map to the goat. Oh, no. Try to grab it back before he feeds it.
21.
21. Are you using a Flash of Genius?
Not on his. Oh yeah, for him to grab it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, it is a giant goat, and so you see Akka overreact badly to this. You kind of go and you're like, look, and you show the goat this map, and you look at the goat, and these weird little like pupils seem to almost squint like the goat is really taking it, and then Akka grabs it away from the goat. The goat just bows at you, and just like you can see the goat almost lunges forward. You have to separate the goat
Put
and
the
Akka.
map away. Continue along the path.
No problem. So with a little bit less of a friendly goat, you make your way along. The sand howls, and you approach these places, and you can see the sandstone structure materializes for all of you. Some of you sooner than others.
Bring up the rear over here.
Is anybody doing anything as you approach?
I think I would try to, if the goat is nearby, try to lean on the goat a little bit if I can. If it lets me, and if it doesn't let me, I'll just struggle alone. But I'll try.
I want to.
You're just doing a magic trick.
I want to consider these 2 runes.
Okay, you do that.
As I see her like lean on the goat, I'm gonna like command the goat mentally to like let her lean on her.
Okay. Aalinor, as you like try to lean on the goat, looking around, trying to make sure nobody sees this, it's almost like the goat leans into you, and then there's a point where you're like kind of your hand is on it, you're just barely leaning on it, and then it just kind of goes and just lifts its head under your arm, and you're now like fully like slopped across it. And you imagine you could probably ride this goat if you really wanted to.
I actually make goat noises. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, great. So Oakfeld goats at the goat, and the goat just kind of agrees and seems to scoop you up.
All right, I will accept the help.
There you go. So now riding this noble steed.
I will rearrange myself so I'm at least on it, more or less like you should ride a goat, I guess.
Sure. Fantastic. So you ride this goat. You make your way one by one to the outlying sort of stone walls of the space. You can see places that at one point would have been like a barrier wall or a perimeter wall to a city. Now just the basics of brick that have been worn by these winds to the point where they're just nubs. Almost kind of like children's teeth sticking out of the ground. But you pass those, and Akka, you can see this huge building still, as there is this kind of crackle of lightning, and you can see the bastion in the distance, maybe miles away. But this building does seem to almost beckon you forward. Make a perception check. Yes, this is using your special elvish eyes.
18.
In this place, it is hard to see,
Sand is everywhere.
but the goggles do help against the sand.
Yeah.
You notice
They do something.
they do something. The sand here, it's too hard as you turn backwards, where I believe it's Aalinor picking up the rear on this goat. You can see even like 10 feet back, those tracks already gone. The wind kind of erases them immediately. But as you get to the edges of this building and you stop looking up, it rises maybe 30 feet into the air. On the inside, where wind has kind of pushed sand across the floor, there are footprints. Quite a few of them.
What kind of footprints would I know?
Make a survival check.
I'd probably become normal form.
Okay. Upon seeing these footprints and sensing danger, you go from your giant tree to a little human in preparation.
Do I notice the footprints too? And can I make her survival check too?
As you walk down, you see Akka bend down and go ahead, yeah. You look and you see footprints.
27.
27.
All right, that's good. Mine was 13.
So Akka goes, hey, footprints. You look down, and you, Brenna, having spent some time tracking things through the Underdark, and there is sand in a lot of places in the Underdark, you look at it and you don't look at the footprint, but you look at the shape that it was before the sand crumbled in and filled its way. And you can see that these are very humanoid looking. Some of them bear markings of metallic boots, perhaps. And there's a lot of them, some small, some large. Some of them seem to bear indication that there are injured here, maybe elderly. And you count maybe 3 or 4 dozen people in total. if they are people.
I share that with the group. Like, this doesn't seem like a bunch of soldiers or, you know, like, this seems just like a group of regular people, right? Older, there's some, I don't know.
As you're all watching this, Era, who's been kind of walking with all of you, relatively quiet now, is also looking around. And for the first time, her face is showing that she is a little bit perturbed. But she turns and she looks and she says, "Those of the Burning Banner that survived were supposed to meet here. Perhaps have gone further in."
We should be careful.
Yes. Possible.
Continue
Okay.
along the line very cautiously.
You all walk, finally finding some reprieve from the wind.
Eleanor's still on the goat and is gently petting the goat, going, "Good goat."
Aw.
I'd say going inside now,
Yeah.
I would start hovering and being hyper aware of traps and zombies coming out.
Okay. So you begin to hover.
Zombie thing.
Eleanor, as you walk on this goat, you kind of whisper like, "Good goat," and you hear this all, but you walk. You pass tables. There are broken pottery, jars, and here and there, all of you are seeing beautiful writing. Overlapping concentric circles with these hooking arches that seem to vanish into these little dots. This is celestial. Do any of you speak it?
No, I only
Fortunately,
speak
lost a Heinrich.
infernal.
Yeah. Okay. You can't really make out what it is, but it's old writing. This does not look like the runes that you saw.
Okay.
The ones that you saw in your vision, they look very different. Yeah, those are much more jagged, much simpler. Perhaps
Do I know
older.
what these are?
Make a history check. But you look, and as you pass, none of these celestial glyphs seem to mean anything to you. Everybody go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh no.
Natural 20.
Perception check?
Yeah.
As well? Oh. With my eyes?
Yes.
I got an
Oh
11.
my god. Alright, I'm
13.
tossing these out for the night.
19.
Give them to Joe for the next fight.
It was like a 14 perception check, and
Okay.
what was the first thing? Oh my god.
History.
The history check. History check was 12.
12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both about the same.
You're busy. You're like hyper aware. Just every time that like a little bit of sand cascades from the ceiling, your neck whips around. You ready for danger. For the rest of you, as you look here and there, you do see more signs that people have passed through. Places where little sections of table have been cleared away, and you can see more recently dried elements of blood, probably injured, who have been placed down and care has been rendered. Shay, with you in particular, here in the dark, your eyes are not very good, but you pull the mask down. And as the gilded gold and red feathers of this red hawk mask slide down and your vision becomes a lot better, you're able to see, hard to see at first because in the dark almost nothing emerges, but there are some of these celestial runes. Hey, look, a little spider. There's some of these celestial runes that
Spooky.
thanks for your support. It helps us with things like our spider. You recognize a few of these celestial glyphs float a little bit away from the wall. Not in ways that look like they were intended to.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's almost like echoes, like remnants. There was a place that you were in once where you could see just flickers of memories. It reminds you of that in ways, but even as you pass and you could see Oakfeld just walks right through one, it just scatters.
Does it reform or is
No.
it...
These are very much echoes.
I pointed out to Akka.
And Akka, you can't see these. These are so faint that even with your special eyes,
Special eyes.
it seems like only Shay with a natural 20 is able to see those.
What?
That puts you at 27, right?
32.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, nice.
It sees through space and time.
What are you looking at?
There's glyphs, but they're hanging.
I can't see shit.
You see celestial glyphs, but none that seem to be drifting magically away.
It's almost like an echo.
Do I have any books that have to do with celestial?
I don't believe
I
so.
haven't really looked into that much.
You had a party member who would take most of them, and so at the moment you don't really have any. Shay, as you think about that, you continue to walk. There is a staircase that's coming up. You see it goes straight and then turns 90 degrees around a corner as it descends into the ground. And there is something on the very top of the staircase. At first, you just mistake it to be rubble or some refuse, as there is just bags, broken jars, glass everywhere. But this has more definitive shape, and you've seen this before. It's gaudy fabric, and that's really what kind of brings it out. It's like this awful shade of bright, almost chartreuse, or not chartreuse, almost like a vibrant flamingo pink. You've seen a handy haversack very similar to this before. But this looks almost depressed, like it's empty. And as you get even closer, you can see it looks as if it has been destroyed.
And there's nothing else around it with it. Well, there goes that.
You know, I'll stand on top of this staircase.
Still haven't gotten. I mean, I guess I'm just continuing up to as far as we can get, following the gold.
Yeah, no problem.
There's
You see
nothing
this
else
gold
here.
trail right down the center of the staircase, just wind down and descend. Hooks to the left out of sight. You can continue to follow it down to the second level. You remember your vision brought you down here. And it gets dark down here. You remember that.
Alright. It's about to get dark.
Now I get off the goat
Okay.
at the stairs.
The goat just kind of looks up at you and goes, huh?
I just like give her a reassuring pat on the side and be like, I can take it from here, I think.
I'm gonna ride the goat down the stairs.
That doesn't seem like a good plan.
Everybody starts sneaking. Eleanor's in the back, and then you just hear ta-ta, 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 ta-ta.
So, we haven't gotten to the door with these. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
But you imagine that's just down at the bottom of the staircase.
For the record, I'm also going to start hovering like Hawkeye because I noticed that he's doing it. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Basically, just like floating
Yeah.
above the ground.
Seems like a good idea.
Do I see more of these echoes out of this initial chamber, or are they just...
You see maybe one at the bottom of the staircase, but before going further, you can't really see too much beyond that.
Okay.
It does seem as if they seem to lead in this direction, if they were some kind of trail or wake. You continue?
Yeah, going down, trying to figure out what the next 6 of these are and get through the door to get past this ruins. Get to where my vision quest sent me.
No problem. You take the stairs one at a time.
Still super aware of any traps, any like things that are gonna jump out at us.
Eleanor, you're exhausted, but in this space, the wind does not howl past you. You don't feel these shards of sand cutting, but you're not sure if it's worse. It is a little cooler in here, but as you descend the stairs, it is stiflingly hot and the air is still. There is no movement to it whatsoever, and for each of you, as you begin to sweat, the sweat doesn't go anywhere. It just begins to run down your body and cling to your clothes. For those of you in armor, it begins to get very, very damp, and for some of you, quite unpleasant. But you continue down these stairs. And
So very light-footed.
sure.
I'm just hold on. Go.
You reach the bottom, and here it is truly dark. For those of you who look to the left and the right, along the walls there are these iron sconces that are probably meant to hold torches, but there are no torches here. At the bottom of the stairs, maybe 10 feet, the hallway runs to where they terminate at a huge dark door. This door has a number of floating glyphs that seem to go maybe an inch above, almost like sparks that are burning above this place. And every now and then these little sparks like, and then, sorry, and then fall to the ground, and you can see a few sparks bounce on the stone before they disappear. And you do see the ones, Akka, that you have seen previously. You also see a number of other runes. They look like this.
Hooray.
In this space, you can see there are 3 dark slots where runes could probably be. 3 more beneath that, and then 2 more beneath that.
In any particular order are these?
You can see that they currently float, and every now and then they cross over, and they're like these sparks, these concentration of sparks. And when they collide, they almost and then pass through each other, reforming the exact same on the other side. But you can't really tell where they go.
This sort of setup 2, 3, 3.
3, 3, 2. But yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding what's happening here. So there are runes like floating in the air, and then there are spots where.
So imagine the door.
Yeah.
And the door itself has 3, 3, and 2 spots where runes might go.
Right.
Above the door, floating off, there are these floating runes of sparks, and they kind of float and drift over each other, through each other. They clearly belong in these spots. They're sized to fit, but they just kind of float over top right now. And Brenna, you being a wild magic sorcerer, sort of, you get the sense that this is the kind of magic that you can manipulate. This is almost like a prestidigitation. You feel like you can almost grab one of these and put them on a spot. And if it was the right one, that would be great.
Do they look familiar in any way?
Make a history check.
Probably not. That's 12.
Not especially. They're old. I mean, they're so simple, and so there's something to them that is quite powerful. And I would say for Yushe, the closest thing that you could match them to is those giant glyphs on Yorn. These are really old, but aside from that, not a lot you could tell about them.
Another door. Oh, hopefully this goes better than the last one.
I forgot about any of these echoes down here.
You look around, and the only real source of any kind of signs, you don't see any of these echoes, but this is a pretty narrow space. And these teal sparks do seem to kind of take up most of your attention. And so it's hard, you wouldn't really be able to see those barely visible images in a place like this.
Oka's going to go into his inventory and get the chimes of opening.
Okay.
And I'm going to ring them and point it at the door and try to open it.
Let me go ahead and take a look at the text of that.
Such a good idea.
I want this to work so
All
badly.
the runes just go boop, 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 boop.
Speed run.
Oh yes, up, left, right, A, B.
Fair enough.
Oh my god.
He said fair enough.
Put that back.
So how I imagine it happens is
You get these?
I just need to
Oakfeld somehow he understands like how all knowledge is passed between the regenerative form of nature, and everything is always passed through. And so he's heard this one before, and so he figures out the puzzle.
You look, and it's less that you figure out the puzzle and more that you have this chime that's magic, and you ting. There is this beautiful,
This is what he believes.
beautiful note that just rings out in this space. It's almost like the shadows draw back away from you, and you can see Oakfeld illuminated just a little bit better. And one of these runes of teal sparks, and then burns into the rock. It is the first of these, and it's almost as if this is one of these locks. This open. This is where this goes.
How many
Okay.
charges does that thing have?
One now.
Just the one. Yeah.
Aka, make a flat intelligence check.
No, it says 2.
It
Aka,
had to.
You
Now it
just
has
used
one.
one now.
Yeah.
Aka, you got this. This is what your flash of genius is for. The drama.
I still don't know what it is.
I can never read whether it's good or bad on Pat's face.
That's probably bad.
This doesn't feel good.
I am gonna flash of genius,
Okay.
and that is going to make it an 18.
There's a part of you that feels like you've seen this before and in this place before, and so recently, but you just can't bring it to mind. But one of these 8 glyphs you now have the right spot for. And Oakfield, you can mark off that very powerful charge of that very powerful item.
I have one more remaining.
These are the two. No. these are
Which,
the two
which
that
one
I
do we
know.
have?
I have these two locked in. I put these two in because I remember where they were, right?
Okay. You saw them on the door, and you saw them floating over the door. You didn't see where they belonged.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw the positions of those two when I.
And again, in your brain, it feels almost like you've seen the positioning. You could swear that you've seen it before, but it's just not coming
Which
back
one
to
did
your
Oakfield
brain.
see?
The one that I just put out, it looks like a
here?
little 7 with 2 dots.
This one here.
Okay. Okay, so we know it's this one.
Brenna's gonna try. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try using magic awareness, which is kind of like baby detect magic, because maybe the different runes have different like qualities
Sure.
to them that
Yeah,
might
yeah, yeah.
match.
So what does that do? What does the feature do?
Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet. When you sense a spell, you learn which school of magic it belongs to. I don't
Okay.
think it's gonna work, but might as well try it.
Interestingly, in this place, in this demi-planar prison where magic is kind of bound in strange ways and where the laws of physics are very different, you look over at Aalinor, who looks exhausted. She looks awful, and not just from the last battle. It looks like something beyond that. There's something about this place that is different. You get the sense, not for any school of magic, but as if there is something that connects this to something else, something in this very room. Something maybe even on one of your persons. It's very close, but you can't quite tell where it is.
I'm gonna look around really,
Make
really
a perception
hard.
check.
Eleanor's just gonna put her hands on her hips and look at all the symbols and see if anything strikes me.
Make a perception check.
Can I use Tides of Chaos to give myself advantage?
Yeah, you can.
I know. Sorry.
It's 2 in the bank.
18.
Okay.
I would like to use guidance on myself and try.
Do you have guidance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got guidance. And gonna. I don't know. Try to decipher these based on all of my knowledge.
A 24.
of
A
language.
24.
Ooh,
Nice.
Brenna, with an 18, you look around, you just can't see like a magic connection to this door. You look for a lock, a projector, anything. You can't find anything.
You said that I also thought, like, that I had an inkling maybe it could be on one of our persons, right? So
Perhaps.
I'm gonna start, like, literally, like, let me see your stuff. Like, I'm looking, like, I look at my axe and I just look, I'm just looking for runes,
You start
just
looking,
anything.
pulling things apart. Eleanor, you're like, what are you doing? Like, Brenna
worry about
is
it,
like,
don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm pulling things apart. And I would say with that, it's not so much that you think of anything, but as you watch Brenna tear your party apart, especially as Brenna gets to Aka, are you stopping Brenna at all?
It's cool. It's fine. Just let me just.
What are you doing?
I'm just. I feel like there's something here that just is gonna help us. I can't.
Brenna has
let
like
me just,
the goggles. It's not the goggles.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yanks out
just
like
let me look at all your stuff.
tries to grab the paintbrush. Aka yanks it away.
Yeah. Just no, it's okay. Like just be cool, just for a second.
Guidance on Brenna. As a,
Okay, you're trying to push her away, and as you do, Brenna, as like Aka like holds all of his stuff, you see in Aka's hand a map of Calypso's. And Eleanor, there is a part of you that as like Brenna sees this and everything, you're like, we have a map of this place. Could there possibly be some kind of a hint there? Written in 2019?
What's on the map? Maps had important things before. Does this one have important things now? Magic map stuff? I don't know. You're the magical people.
I'm looking at the map of Alinor, or the ruins of Alinor.
Is there like
scanning this, thinking about the statue and everything that lays ahead.
Are you telling them all about your vision?
I mean, I would probably at this point, yeah, just sit down and be like, okay.
So put the map on the table.
Come on,
I
team.
went-
We can do
I
it.
went all the way to where we are now.
brain power?
And
Think of things we can't see.
I saw these, and these
I'm
are
trying
the
so
two
hard to
that
help
I
you guys
saw.
out.
And beyond this, we're gonna go through and get to a statue of Bald Angel. Blah 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 blah.
So Akka puts this down, puts the map down and starts telling you about this vision. Oakfeld immediately takes the map. So you guys aren't able to see it. But Oakfeld like takes it, he's holding it clearly upside down. He shows it to the goat. The goat's like, "Mwah," and just kind of like holds a hoof up, and Oakfeld goes, yes. And then turns around to the group and is like, I don't know. And like hands it to you guys. But you take a look and you look at this map. This is the entirety apparently of Calypso's. And then you remember kind of thinking about Akka's vision as Akka tells you, yeah, and then I saw like silhouetted this like these burning sigils above on the burning bastion. And as you look at the map, you can see there are sigils, 8 of them, that Akka has had in his possession for months, and that you, Matt, have had in your hand since 2019.
Oh, we should not deserve that hint.
I just want you guys to understand, you've had this puzzle has existed for a long ass time.
Little statue down here. I'm like, what is going on in the statue?
I just imagine Eleanor fucking just like
Oh
looks
my
at the like
God.
all the glowing symbols and looks at the map and sees the matching glowing symbols and be like, "Well, it's right here."
MVPs tonight.
Akka's like,
So Eleanor takes the map, holds it up, and goes, "What about these 8 symbols that match the ones that are on the door?" And Akka, you're like, and you just start like pressing them, and one by one, they start burning themselves into the correct places, and you recognize these match perfectly.
Oh god.
And as you fill in these signs that you had this entire time, the door seems
We
to
did it.
step back just a bit.
You've seen
then
it so recently.
slide in place. And beyond, you can see this hallway, 20 feet wide. The ceiling's towering here, probably up to the surface of Calypsos, maybe like 40, 50 feet up. There's this towering space, stone floors, stone walls. Here and there was art at one point. You see many tapestries, many of them kind of threadbare. And everywhere is the sign of battle and damage. You can see old weapons bent in half. You see arrows embedded into the wall. I would say with that natural 20 kind of carrying over, Shay, you see falling apart many of the feathers like kind of off a partially skeletalized angelic wing. Not in any way Aarakocran. This is very different than what you've seen before. And there is elements of this around it that look like perfectly singed. Similar to the way that you can like do a rubbing of a leaf and get like a perfect imprint of a leaf. It's like the feathers burned into the stone of the floor around it when this creature fell. You see rusting armor. You can see here and there desiccated, dried up, burst maggots and all kinds of things. But clearly a battle has taken place here before. And without even a roll this time, everywhere you can see these little echoes, celestial cliffs, these remnants, almost like teal ghosts.
Almost hovering around or above these bodies.
Certain.
Oh, that's not good.
How long ago was this battle? Can you tell?
Make a flat, oh gosh. You can either make an Arcana check to call upon your knowledge of what you've seen in terms of arcane combat, or you can make a flat intelligence check because something about this is pulling at your mind.
It's the same either way, so.
Joe, you're out of focus on the.
It's an 18.
It'll focus again eventually. An 18?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the least important here.
Aw.
With an 18. With an 18, as you, which one are you doing?
It really doesn't matter.
Each one's going to get you a different detail, so it does.
We'll go with Arcana then, I guess.
Okay. You've seen something similar to this before. With that roll, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where, but given your experience with arcane things and combat, maybe a day, maybe 2.
Okay.
No more than a week,
So recent.
relatively.
That's not good.
It's recent. Oh no,
It's recent.
that's not good.
Should we burn the bodies?
I don't think there's much point.
You don't think they're gonna get? Are they gonna get?
When we're dealing with Zystries and the mushroom stuff, the rot.
We're just gonna like crane her neck and just kind of like see if there's any movement.
Make a perception check.
Can I give like a very quick but
9.
solemn rites to the people who died here? Make sure don't recognize any of them, and then burn the bodies with fireball.
Make a perception check for that recognition bar. The other thing you can do is just, over the course of a couple minutes.
A 9. So she's just gonna assume everything is gonna come back.
Oh my god. Spooky dice!
Is that a 1?
That's a 1.
Oh no.
The spooky dice!
You guys, I'm trying so hard for you today.
I'm gonna, while they're like looking at
Alright,
stuff,
I
Brenna's
need to-
gonna, as respectfully as she can, paw through the belongings of the dead people to see if there's anything useful.
Make an investigation check. So what you see Akka first begin to look, and he's like trying to be very respectful. You can recognize from Akka, this is like about as respectful as he gets. But there's a point where you go and you step on something. It is like this gross, still very full of
Still
liquid
floating.
maggot. Okay, fair
Still
enough.
floating.
Fair enough. Still floating. You're about to reach down and like shift this person aside, and you see this huge, as you like pull the cloak, this like maggot still, like you're not sure if it's alive. You like withdraw back suddenly.
And I'm starting to burn the
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
like
burning
very
the
respectful,
bodies.
very respectful. Fuck you, and you start burning bodies. No problem.
Fuck you, burn the
Before
bodies.
he gets to that point, I'm
Yeah.
looking to Highland and Aaron see if they recognize anybody.
Okay.
With these bodies.
You can see they're looking around a little bit less intensely than Aalinor is, but they don't seem to. Aalinor, what was your roll? Sorry.
A 9.
A 9, right. So as you just assume, everything is going to pop up. And those of you who now begin to walk through very slowly, begin to look and see if you recognize anybody. Brenna, you begin to dig down and look a little closer. What was your roll?
15.
Okay. For most of you, as you look here, you don't recognize anybody unless because there's not a ton of human remains, and most of the humanoids that you see do have these wings attached to them. These are all, you've heard about them, creatures known as Aasimir. These are probably members of the Burning Banner, this group left behind to defend this prison of Azra. And the fact that they are all lying here dead does not bode well. Brenna, as you begin to loot the corpses, essentially. Respectfully loot the corpses. There are, here and there, although many bloodstained, these beautiful garments that still do cling to these individuals. It's almost like silk strands, but as they move, the way that it like folds across, it almost looks like there's a fabric that you can kind of see through. I'm dying here. Gossamer, thank you. Oh man, one of my favorite words too. Yeah, so it's almost like this gossamer fabric. It like suctions to the body. It's so fine. And it's this beautiful shade of white, except for the places where it's stained with dried blood or this kind of creeping mold that you are beginning to notice every time you shift a body. It does seem to cling. You don't really find too much. These individuals don't have pockets. There's no wallets. You don't find any gold. You'd imagine in a place like this, probably not a lot of currency, not a lot of shopping. Here and there are mundane weapons. You can find, short swords and things of that nature, but nothing that would match your current level of equipment.
I'm just gonna kind of point out the mold that I'm seeing. Does it appear to be like the start of some of this other rot that we've seen before?
I would say yes, certainly. I mean, the same exact purple and black shades that you've seen. But if you want, go ahead and I would say you could make a medicine check to notice a little bit more about that.
18.
Brenna, as you respectfully loot the dead, one of the things that you do notice is the rot is always worse around the sites of these injuries. And these injuries are similar. There are other injuries that are like slashes and bruises and things like that, but these are almost these bursts of force that seem to impact people, and then from within, it's like the rot emerges outside.
Do I think that means that this particular injury is being made by like a certain kind of creature, a certain kind of weapon, something like that?
Make a flat intelligence check at advantage.
Because Hannah has no idea, but
at advantage. This is a recent memory.
While she's doing that, I want to communicate to the goat.
Also, we
that
get the plus D4 of guidance.
Nice.
I want to communicate to the goat to look at the black rot
Okay.
and just be like enemy, kill it.
Okay. So for those of you who are paying attention to Oakfeld starts like murmuring to the goat, and the goat like bends down and sniffs at this little bit of rot, and then just kind of and just like crushes it with its hoof.
Good.
Oh, do you roll the guidance or do I? Because I rolled it. I think you roll it.
You roll it.
All right. So total of 19.
19.
Oh, good tonight.
You think and think and think. And then you remember the last time that you had seen your friends who had been taken over under the influence of Azra. They had fallen into this sort of contract with her, and as a result had gained certain powers. One of those powers was something that you had learned was called Eldritch Blast. Right. And as you look at these impact sites, very similar kind of wounds, you'd imagine probably these have been dealt Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch Blast.
And now it's Firebolt as I burn the bodies.
Rena points and goes Eldritch Blast, and then you point and go Firebolt. Fire.
I'm painting the,
Yeah.
Firebolt. It's a cantrip. So
absolutely.
Does this remind Shay of
Fire.
All of a sudden, Shay, all of these intelligence checks that everybody has been making, for you, it comes kind of naturally. You spent a lot of time with this individual. And over the course of your time with Heinrich, you saw often the celestial energy, glowing teal sparks. All of a sudden, these echoes. It feels a little bit more ominous.
How long does it take for me to burn all these bodies respectfully?
The first 20 feet of this hallway, there's maybe 7 or 8, but as you continue to move past fallen tapestries and broken statues, there are more, and there are more. And so this will slow your process down, but you can continue to burn them as you go.
Does Shay mention the glyphs over the bodies?
Yes.
Are they the same ones that you had mentioned before?
Similar.
Aalinor has like her rapier out and just holding it against her, kind of like in a paranoid way, and she's kind of like, you don't think they're like part of like some kind of ritual or something where they're just going to like all activate at once and kill us?
These bodies weren't here when I incorporeally passed through.
You didn't go through the door, so...
Oh.
Or
Yeah, we just went past it.
Brenna's gonna try to, just noticing that Aalinor is like losing her grip, Brenna's just gonna be like, I'm sure it'll be fine. We've come up against worse and we'll be just fine.
Magical glyphs suck. Every time I've seen, they're terrible.
We'll protect each other though. It'll be okay.
I would imagine knowing what these creatures are and having spent some time with an individual who was in service to Azra for a time. Aka, you probably don't need to burn them because their souls are probably already bound to Azra.
And, Shay, as you mentioned that, there is something else that comes to mind. The times that Heinrich killed things and bound those souls to Azra, there were times that you had to fight those creatures again. Mm-hmm. And you begin to think, at one point you had believed that Heinrich had found this salvation, had found this other sort of patron. There was never any real fallout from that. You would imagine this evil god probably more vengeful than just allowing somebody to walk away. There are elements of that that are beginning to feel very worrying to you. Mm-hmm. You think about all the creatures that you've slayed alongside Heinrich.
Not going to end up for us.
Great. And then we're just gonna continue down this hallway and pretend like everything's fine.
Just keep walking at this point.
Sure.
Aka can keep burning things if he wants, but I'm not waiting.
And pretend is the right word, because things are not fine. As you walk through this space, more and more the destruction is becoming a little bit more evident.
Kind of like look back to where the gold probably has like veered off a bit, right?
You turn and look, and there's nothing but darkness behind you. You can still see the stone and everything, but in this place with no natural source of light, that golden glow that you had been given before is gone. You've reached your destination.
This is terrible. Okay.
This is an awful place.
You continue to walk, passing broken pillars, statues, places where these tapestries have burned, and some places where, as you go, the burn marks that at first you had seen almost everywhere are beginning to become covered by moss and by lichen and by mushrooms that grow out of the corpses here and there.
Poop butts.
And then you come to a stair. The staircase, still 20 feet wide, and it climbs up and up and up into a platform above. And there on the platform, you see the first figure that is not slumped in a corner or broken or otherwise sprawled across. This individual, hard to see in the darkness here, but Shay, the antler shape is unmistakable. And because it is 9:50, this is where we're going to end the video.
Oh no.
But thank you so much for hanging out with us for this Halloween session of Adventures in Alberon. We'll be back next week for the very interesting next session.
Brenna's signing off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my phone died, so I can't see the chat. So we will be back next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for Halloween, and I will turn it right over to Brenna.
Well, folks, this is terrible. I hope that you all have a much better time than the Fate Changers are about to.
Spooky.
Have a spooky Halloween, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you then.
See ya.
Bye.